The Fell Winter, Chapter 2, The Old Forest. Fred Hardbottle, Maradoc Hornblower, Lolo Brandybuck, Phloxanna Took. On the word of Belladonna Took, the four of you have agreed to leave home behind in a bid to bring help to the winter-locked Shire. You sought to cross the frozen Brandywine, and in doing so, you ran afoul of the winter wolf, Scoth. You were able to outfox him, causing the great white beast to plunge beneath the ice. But now, in the dead of night, dark shapes are looming and rushing about you in the forests. Your only hope is Brandy Hall. If there is a hidden power that is shared among all hobbits, it is surely revealed tonight. Stamina and being able to move unseen are the only things that will keep you safe. Let's see if you make it there. Roll initiative.
Well, depending on how
Right.
how you do, Tay, we're off to a banger start.
What did you get, Taylor? Oh, sorry, there we are. 7. Okay. Wow. Oh, cheers, Lloyd. So, the breath in your lungs is hot as you are all dashing as fast as you can into the darkness, fear gripping you, the image of that giant monster crashing into the ice behind you is just running through your thoughts, and it drives you on. This is a skill challenge, and providing on how well you do will determine whether you're able to reach Brandy Hall without being caught. Behind you, running in a V formation like that, you see these black and grey shapes driving at you from behind. This time I'm going to make a note of the skills that we use. And we're going to begin with Mara. What skill are you using to either move unseen or, to basically get through this remaining forest in time to get yourself to Brandy Hall?
Is it cheating for us as players to quickly talk amongst ourselves to see what folks are good at? So, because I don't want to take something from somebody if they're better at it.
No, not cheating at all. I think that's totally fair. You've probably had these discussions. You probably know what's good, what you guys are good at in your company. So what do you reckon?
One, don't ever read the chat when it's your turn.
Fred is pretty good at a lot of things. He's good at anything that's dex or strength based. So
yeah, I figured he would be. Yeah, all the stuff that I am not good at. So I think
usually the main problem is that Lolo and I have the same things we're good at. Right?
Actually, no. I'm more. What is it? I'm more wisdom and dex.
Okay.
Anyone got a better than a 5 on stealth?
7.
Okay, I will not do stealth then. This is what I'm going to do. I don't know what people's animal handling is, but mine's pretty decent. What I'm going to do is, so obviously he's from South Farthing. So one of the things they have little, I shouldn't say little sheep because they're huge to us. But you raise some sheep down there, you shear them, and you use the wool for nice stout Hobbit garments. And as such, we do run in. There are wolves down there, probably not as big as these, but what's this? This is just a big wolf, right? So use some animal handling to see if maybe like how they've usually herded or like how a pack will sometimes like drive their prey. That's not one.
Wow. So your thoughts drift to
Sorry, guys.
the farmlands as you're rushing through the
I don't even think it's that. Like literally, it's just sheer panic. All poor Maradoc hears is the blood pumping in his ears, and just scrambling across. I'd probably falling. His clothes are all like stiff from the permafrost effect, and and he's just like, I know, I should know, and he just can't form a thought. That's going to be a failure. Sorry.
It is one failure onto the list. There is a blood-curdling howl that erupts behind you, almost too close behind you. You find yourself all slipping through the undergrowth. Your white cloaks are the only thing that's really obscuring you in this landscape at this moment. Perhaps it's the reason why Belladonna gave them to you. We're now on to Lolo. What do you do?
Does anybody object if I use the perception? Because that's literally the best right now.
Go for it.
If it's good for anybody else, I can pivot to something else.
Pick what you're good at. Go for it.
Yep.
Okay. So Lolo's basically going to, while she's running, she's going to try to pick out the areas where the depth of the snow is lesser. Since we're running through the woods, there are areas where the canopy has obscured a lot of the snowfall, making the overall drifts much smaller and therefore easier to plow through. So she's going to try to scout that out, and that's a 14 on the dice, so that's a dirty 20.
It is a success. Yes, so you're able to lead the others through more shallow parts of the snow. Also looking at areas that you think you might be able to like obscure your footprints and things like that. Excellent work. As you're rushing through the woodlands, we now move to Phlox.
Phlox is trying to follow Lolo and is trying to nimbly come over the bits of sticks and rocks that are coming, but with a 10 total. I think she's not as nimble as you would hope.
You make a running jump, but you have a misplaced step and you send rocks and ice scattering across your way. It makes a hell of a noise. That is a failure. And you hear another growl close behind you. Fred.
Fred sees two trees that are quite close together, and he thinks he can get through there, but the things chasing them cannot. And so I'm going to try and use shadow lore to know that these things are determined and will follow me and maybe make stupid decisions because they're single-minded in the way that they come after me. And I'm going to try and squeeze through that gap and think they're not going to run around it. They're going to try and run through it and maybe run into it.
Okay.
Ooh, okay, 19 on the die. So 19.
That is absolutely successful. So what does it look like as you were able to pull that off?
Yeah, I think he's like running, and he like even like looks over his shoulder at them to see if they're behind him, and then he like slides sort of through the gap, and one of them tries to slide through or like push through, but just smashes into it. And another one runs into the back of that, and it gives them just a couple of seconds to make some distance. Yeah,
you actually feel the impact of something moving behind you. These beasts are more operating on their sense of smell rather than their sight to try and to catch you, and you're able to outfox them once again. We are back to the top. Mara.
I could count on one hand the amount of times I've been really afraid to throw a die, and this is one of them. No. Well, I improved. I rolled a 3 this time.
And what was that using? Sorry.
I'm sorry. I was going to use sleight of hand.
Actually, it doesn't matter because it doesn't count if you fail on them, so it doesn't
Right.
matter. Yeah, cool.
Right. So what happens is we're just like running through this blinding snow, and there's probably like a lot of like we're like yelling to each other, and poor Maradoc is just confused, and he takes his walking stick, his trusted walking stick, and he goes, catch this, and he throws it to try to distract them, and it just doesn't work. It literally thunks. If you've ever like played like disc golf or anything like that, it literally like not even 3 feet away from him, thunk right against the branch, lands right at his feet, like 5 feet away.
Oh my goodness. And it's like you can feel the gradual, almost inevitable progress that even though you're darting in out of cover, like pausing for a moment and then ducking into different shadows and things, all of you can all sense that they're closing on you. You know, they're not just behind you at this point, they're moving in from the sides. You feel like you are being funneled in a direction, almost like you're not in control of this chase at all. Lolo, it's your turn.
Okay. Lloyd, did you use animal handling on your second one also?
No, I
used it on the first one and failed.
I used and failed. So
Animal handling
it.
got used but failed by
Okay.
Mara. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and go for animal handling then. Lolo's picking up what Mara's throwing down with trying to distract the creatures, and so she's actually going to pull like what is it? She's actually going to pull like a couple of bits of like probably some meat or something out of her pack, and what is it? And as she's running, she's going to kind of throw it off trail a little bit to try to go get it. Go get the yummy meat. We're not yummy meat.
Amazing. Give it a go. Give it a go.
That's not great. That's not great, you guys. So it's a 10, 14.
14 is just a success. Congratulations. You're able to throw this and it causes a momentary distraction where they sense something else all of a sudden. As you throw it, Lolo, because it was just a success, you see this giant grey shape just loom past you in an immediate attempt to snatch this thing out of the air as you were just successful in that. We're neck and neck at the moment. Phlox.
Phlox, having stumbled once, is determined not to do it again, and now she knows what to look for in the shapes under the snow. As a 19 acrobatics as she tries to weave her way through the trees and rocks.
That is absolutely a success. You maybe head in one direction and then almost like faint in which way you're moving, and then vanish into a different route altogether with a very precise jump. Excellent. Fred.
Okay, Fred is just running. He sees that they're getting close, and he's going to try and just like smack into like the front leg of one that's in the lead and try and make that topple and maybe cause a bit of a stumble that follows. So I'm going to use athletics. Can I still use that? Yeah.
Yeah, that hasn't been used yet, so
okay.
Yeah.
Crit. 23.
Okay, that's amazing. Have we ever done anything different with crits? I would say, no, it's skill. It's fine. You just succeed. That's fine. But it's a very impressive success. What does it look like?
Yeah, he's like running, and he sees one of them like ahead of the rest of the pack, and so he just sort of like pumps a little bit, and rushes up, and then he does that thing. I don't know if you've ever suffered this when you were in school, where someone kicks underneath your heel as you're walking. He like runs up and does that to the wolf as it tries to put its foot back down, and it just like yelps and like falls over, and another one smashes into it. And he'll slow to let the others run past him of the hobbits, and then he'll run to catch up with them.
Yeah, as you sort of like let the others past you, you sort of look around, snow falling behind you as this great beast has collided into a tree thanks to your athletics. Excellent work. Back to the top, Mara.
I'm going to hold my... Oh, no. All right. I am going to use... let's see, what have we been used? We used acrobatics, athletics, animal handling, perception, shadow lore. Oh, shoot. No one's used stealth. I'll use stealth.
Sure.
Vindication. 14 on the die for a total of 19.
That is perfect.
So I think with Fred's maneuver, I think that maybe Mara sees this little cluster of shrubs or whatever, and he kind of ducks, slides up underneath him, and he goes, here, 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 and he starts scampering, very Hobbit-like, through these shrubs.
Amazing, fantastic, and with subterfuge and stealth, you vanish from their hunting gaze for the moment. Lolo.
Okay. I think Lolo, because we haven't used it yet, is going to use survival because that's her jam.
Excellent.
She's going to use survival, and I don't know what that looks like yet. Let's see.
We'll see what it looks like. Oh no.
9 on the die for a 13.
Oh, just
Lolo,
shy.
Lolo
Just shy.
sees Mara go here, and duck off into the brush. Too late, and she like, what? Oh no, and kind of stumbles a little bit, and like probably not quite twists, but tweaks her ankle a little bit, and like and so now she's kind of doing like one of these, like while she's trying to continue to run away.
As you continue to run away, Lolo, you all of a sudden see a great beast silhouetted atop a great snowdrift that rises up to your left-hand side. The eyes of this creature sort of are glinting in the dark, and you can tell that it is enjoying the anticipation of that moment right before life becomes death.
Oh,
You
no,
are upon the brink. Phlox.
I have a really big knife.
So Phlox is watching and listening to these things, and she's going to try and anticipate the movements of one so that she can kind of feint a little with insight. It's an 11 on the die for 15 total.
Which is just a success. What is it like as you are successful in this endeavor?
She almost second guesses herself, and she like steps forward and back and forward, and then here goes one cutting right across, and then she runs behind it.
Oh my goodness me, that is excellent. I would need you all now to make me a perception check, please.
$11.
At 20.
Oh, yes.
I've got the at-con die.
Maradoc, that was 11, was it?
Yeah, 11 total.
Okay. I'm afraid you're the only one that doesn't see this, despite your excellent successes, which enable you to pass the skill challenge. You are able to spot something horrifying. You realize that you are only being chased by half of the pack. You see a line of monstrosities moving through the darkness. You can hear their snarling and howling echoing all around you. And then suddenly there is a brilliant flash of light that erupts through the darkness. Great fires leap up at either side of you. You are all staggered as the wolves give out fell cries and scarper back into the darkness. You have just made it to the borders of Buckland, and before you, you see Brandy Hall. And disguised amongst the forestry here, you see barricades and great pyres that have been set up to set ablaze when the beasts get too close, and you arrive just in time. Hobbits usher you in out of the darkness into a almost like a fortified area surrounding Brandy Hall. Now, Lolo, you would be absolutely familiar with this grand Hobbit hole. It is a warren of different Hobbit holes that enter one large structure. It delves throughout the entirety of Buck Hill. It has 3 large front doors and countless windows that glimmer with candlelight. And from this moment of horror, you are suddenly relieved to find yourself at a place you could call home. What is that like, Lolo?
I imagine that we're all being ushered in, maybe with a little less fervor, because the pyres, what is it? The beacons are lit. The beacons are lit, and so the whatever was out there isn't pursuing us inside. So what is it? The great doors are open. They're ushering us all inside, and Lolo just takes a moment to smell the familiarity of this place, like that all, when you go into a place, there's like that familiar wood smell. There's the smell of books, because Brandy Hall is, what is it? Lolo remembers it from the few times that she's been here. There's lots of books. There's lots of windows, and and she just kind of heaves a sigh of relief and takes a look around and sees, and she's like looking to see for some comfort and familiarity, but I'm not sure that she's going to get the comfort of familiarity, Rob.
Well, we'll see. You do have that overwhelming feeling like you've been here a few times. For the rest of you, I mean, you can decide this for yourselves, but most hobbits that live on the other side of the water consider the Brandybucks to be foreigners. These hobbits have effectively made a country of their own across the other side of the river. And while there's only a couple of miles difference, it's all the difference that it needs for them to be ever so different. As you're ushered into Brandy Hall itself, it is still unmistakably cold in here because of the frugality of your situation, but it is nonetheless rather grand and very peculiar. Inside these hobbit holes, the walls are completely bedecked with mahogany and rich wood, and murals and carvings fill each corridor as you are led by these hobbits deeper into Buck Hill. They depict stags and carvings of forests and all manner of different depictions of stories and things, until you are led before a crackling hearth. And Lola, you are greeted with someone familiar. Turning to face you is an elderly hobbit. He has tufty grey sideburns, a bright yellow waistcoat. You know this to be Gorbadoc Broadbelt Brandybuck, and he is your grandfather. And he says, "Well, fancy that. 4 hobbits, one my own blood, running around in a blizzard at this time of night. How are you, Lolo?"
Doc! We had a bear of a time getting here, Doc. It's so bad out there. Ow, ow. Lolo's favoring her good ankle because the other one's still a little messed up.
Come on now, take a seat by the fire. You are ushered in. You find soon enough that a warm drink and tankards pressed into each of your hands, and it is enough to maybe lighten your spirits a little after the totally harrowing events that has just happened. It is very rare for any hobbit to go through such trauma. What is on the rest of your minds as you sort of taken from this immediate danger into a place of safety?
Fred had sort of come on this trip because he thought he was a little bored and he would like to see something interesting again. He's getting older. And he thought like, okay, well, I'll do this little adventure and we'll get to wander around the Shire a bit. Maybe we'll even go as far as Bree. He immediately regrets it and wishes that he hadn't signed up for it and desperately wishes to be home again and understands more than ever like how insane the Bagginses can be and like all that sort of stuff. Like it's just insane. And he doesn't want to be here anymore. But he's relieved. So I think he comes in and he like drops his pack and there's like a clang clang, but not the third because he threw away the pot to try and get the wolf. And he really feels the loss of that third clang, his dwarven pot. And he'll that'll sort of hit him all at once. And I think maybe he gets a little bit emotional about it. And he'll just like go and sit on the floor near the fire and take a minute to catch his breath.
Phloxanna is looking around and she's keeping an eye on windows and doors. She's always one for knowing where the exits are. But she, at this point, is more worried about entrances because she can't stop thinking about the howls and the big teeth and what if one of those just launched straight through a window. And she feels much safer in here with a bunch of other hobbits, but not safe enough.
Whether all of you had, we established at least that Fred had heard the howling before, and perhaps the rest of you had heard the occasional one. But here in Brandy Hall, it is unmistakable that like you hear like a constant howling outside, and you can see that it is playing on the minds of the hobbits that have swept you in from the cold. Like every time the noise is there, you can see like a stern, defiant effort to ignore the sound almost. Mara, what are you thinking as you've been brought into this sort of living room almost?
I think Mara has been very quiet, just kind of huddled up, kind of both hands on the side of this half tankard. Enjoy in any other time, he probably would be enjoying the warmth of it, but he's just watching the surface of this liquid as it kind of just quivers, because that's what his hands are doing. His hands are still shaking. And he's just looking down at it. Like all the sounds around him, even the howling and everything is just, it's like someone has just like turned the volume down. It's just like very muted. And he's just looking at it.
As you're looking at that, Gorbadoc is has given you a moment to sort of get your breath back, Lolo, but then he puts a hand on your shoulder, your grandfather, and he says, if I'd have known it had come to this, I'd have never. And he looks very regretful, and he says, I know why you're here. We suggested, Lolo, that you should be the one to answer Belladonna's call. But if I'd known that it had been this dangerous.
Why me? Why me, Papa Doc? You could have picked anyone else. Like, what is it? Tobias is way stronger than I am, and Gilly's cleverer, and Dot's faster. Falco's like good all around. I don't understand.
Yes, an Orgelas is a big lump, but and you see Orgelas, who is perhaps like a cousin of yours, I don't know, like he just kind of looks a bit useless to be honest. But he says, out of all of them, we had to pick you. You were the one. We've always known that you've been, well, not like everyone else, he says. And he means it in a kind of way. Whether you take it like that is up to you.
Well, I guess maybe if you thought you needed somebody who's good with a bow, because I am good with a bow. That's all I'm really good with is the bow. But it's not very good in the snow. No. Oh, I'm so sorry, Papa Doc. You know I don't do good with formality and stuff. Please meet my companions. This is Mr. Fred. He's really big and grumpy. And then this is Miss Phloxanna. She's very kind and very smart. And then this is Maradoc.
Well, I never thought it would be. I'd see the day. I'd live to see the day that hobbits or all four farthings would grace the halls of Buck Hill. An honor, he says with a nod.
He's like grumbling to himself about his descriptor being old and grumpy, and he's old and grumpy. And then he'll look towards Gorbadoc and Incline and said, "We are extremely grateful for your hospitality, Master Brandybuck."
We are more grateful for your service, for we know why you've been sent. We know why you're here. And we know that you're answering Belladonna's call. But we here in Brandy Hall have answered that call too, in our own way. Most of the Shire would call us Brandybuck's foreigners. Outsiders beyond the Brandywine. And he wiggles his fingers like that, pretending to be creepy. Well, this winter we've been hard pressed. We've been rounding up all the hobbits of Buck Hill and Crick Hollow and Newbury. We've done our best to build fires and barricades, as you've seen, to hold these lands and make safe the river bank. But as you can imagine, the Brandywine is long, and those things, well, we cannot do much, not alone. It is good that you're here, and I must ask you all. You must all have been chosen for a reason. Surely you must know. How can we better protect the riverbank from those things?
Excuse me. How many others got here before us?
Well, between all the hobbits from Buck Hill and Newbury, and the other place I said, which is Crick Hollow. Well, that makes about 40 of us.
What about from across the river?
You're the first to cross the river in many weeks.
Oh. Except we're not.
You have a sudden flash of, or perhaps Lolo, because you were the first person to see a sudden flash of that face beneath the ice of other hobbits who have attempted to cross.
We know that at least one party didn't make it. I saw them. I saw them pop up below the ice. It was horrible. I was really scared, and then the talking wolf came, and then I was real scared. Then we had to move.
They talk?
Yeah, there was a wolf, and it talked.
It's about this big.
I didn't know they could talk.
It spoke its name. I can't remember. It started with an S. But Fred would know. He would never forget it, I think, for the rest of his life.
Sorry. I thought you said that character. Yeah, it's Scoth. I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah. Okay. I was going to say Skull. He'll say it spoke its name, Scoth. But it spoke clearly and with a frightening voice.
Wolves with names? What darkness comes to us in these cold days? What is your plan? We knew Belladonna had told or had wanted to send hobbits somewhere to do something to help everyone in the Shire. How could we help?
Well, we need to make our way east, find the big folk, see if they can help us, find the rangers and that. But we won't be able to get far with them sniffing around outside. So I don't know if you can lead them here, distract them, something to give us a chance to run.
Aye, east would be the wisest course. You can head through the High Hay. There's a gate there. But we Brandybucks know more than anyone the dangers that lie in the old forest. But
wait, those are just stories, aren't they?
I've lived here for 79 years. Miss Took, that's been long enough to live to understand that they ain't all stories. Oh no, not all stories. The trees. This might not bring comfort to you, given that this is your role, but the trees, well, they are vengeful. It's why the High Hay was cultivated in the first place, to divide the land of the Shire with that of the old forest. Hobbits of old burned away great swaths of those forest borders. And those trees have long and hateful memories.
I think you just hear this little eek from Mara as Broadbelt says that.
So
well, that's the road we have to take. And we have to maybe hope that the trees like the wolves of the shadow less than they like us.
we can make distractions. It does seem to us that those creatures seem hesitant to come towards Brandy Hall from that part. They don't appear to like the forest. They come from the north.
And that's encouraging. We could go through the forest. If we go quick and we make apologies to trees as we go, maybe we can make our way through.
And we'd be glad to make a distraction to make your departure simpler. But you don't leave to never come back, I should hope. Hopefully you'll be returning with help. So in the meantime, what would you have us do? And really at this point, you guys can kind of discuss what you would like that to be, because your sort of mission is obviously to help the Shire in whatever way you can, and part of that will be to hopefully hold the river to stop more wolves coming in. If you want to put your minds to that, that is up to you. If not, no worries. But if there's anything you would ask of them, now would be the time.
If we want to stop wolves coming into the Shire and they have to cross the river, and the best thing we can do is destroy the bridge and have hobbits crack the ice with heavy stones every morning or every evening so that they can't cross the water.
Okay, but I don't know that that's a good option because they can just go farther upriver where the ice isn't and cross there.
And there's still rumors that the bridge is dangerous. We don't want to just send hobbits into danger.
No, I think it's getting the big people to help us. I think they talked about, I think Belladonna talked about rangers, trying to get the rangers to help us.
Right, but what can we make these guys do while we're doing that, you know?
Oh.
How can we stop more wolves getting into the main Shire while we're off trying to find rangers?
Do hobbits poison things? Do hobbits know about poison? Can we like? I know there's not a lot of meat left, but
As you're a took, I will say yes. That you will have a chance to potentially know that. So let's have a look and see what we can argue. I would say a medicine or nature, I would say for those.
okay.
And it's got to be pretty good.
That is a 19 on the die, with a +2 medicine, 21.
Yeah. Well, what is it that you were? What was your plan? Because I think that role will mean that you'll be, you'll have the knowledge to be able to execute it.
I mean, if there are a bunch of wolves, is it possible to like poison them so that they fuck off? At least take some of them out, and maybe have them realize that this is not an area they want to be in. And then at least one crossing area might be safer.
Yeah, Gorbadoc is kind of like nodding along to this, and he says, but it is very difficult to poison things that are still alive. Seems that these wolves like to and he sort of like, you can see like a sort of faraway grim look in his eye, as if potentially maybe he's seen such a thing, but they like to hunt living prey. But if you can think of some way to do that, then I don't see why not. Anything that can repel them from the banks.
What if you just suggested the poison, right? Or whatever. What if you were to just tip your arrows with it? Just get a good shot, and then they'll get sick.
And they fled from the fire. That could be something too. But I agree, if we can sicken them, make them weaker somehow. I don't know anything about that.
See, a valid point. Gorbadoc will nod. We did use up great stores of our dry wood for the time that we felt would be necessary. They've been circling us for some time. We expected them just to rush in, but then when we saw you running towards us, we knew that was the time to put the spark to the kindling, as it were. But it is indeed a good point. They did seem to flee at the sight of large flames. These are all good points, and we shall put them to good use. We shall do what we can and see if we can't break the ice, and perhaps we can take a small number of us to sneak towards the bridge in the light of day, mind. See if there might be anything we can do to undermine it. But as you say, Lolo, they might be watching it still.
If they're crossing over the ice, which they were, then as much as possible, if you can crack the ice and harm it along the length of the river where it's closest, where it's easiest to cross, that might slow them.
Very good. Well, I don't wish to delay you any further with plans that we can put into action. For now, you should rest. And we won't send you away empty-handed. We have supply that we can award you to ensure that you don't go empty-bellied and empty-handed into the old forest. Rest now, and we shall talk in the morning. You're led to different rooms. Warm stones have been placed in the sheets, so gratefully you're able to sleep in warm beds this evening. If there's anything you wish to discuss or anything you wish to prepare or plan before the next morning, by all means.
I guess we would just maybe talk about the route that we want to take.
Sure.
Just need to find that map again, but I think our best bet is to go through the old forest and head towards like Weathertop, probably, like in that direction, if we're trying to find rangers. I don't know if it's probably ruined already, but they do stop by there as far as I know. So that
We could try Bree.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
we could try.
Would be the other side of the forest and past the Barrow Downs would be Bree.
You have to go through the Barrow Downs, though.
Well, we could take the road.
Yeah,
We could take the east-west road, but I don't know that that's really a fun.
I think it's bad
Prospect.
in every direction.
Yeah.
So with your because you remember Belladonna awarded Fred those maps, well, for all of you
Yeah.
really, but Fred, you're the one that's in possession of them. If you would like to make a roll that you could argue, I could tell you roughly how long it's going to take and what you can kind of expect on the road that you've been advised to take, at least.
Okay. I guess survival maybe makes sense.
Yeah, sure.
Let's roll some dice. Oh. Okay, 12 plus 4 is 16.
More than enough to tell you that absolutely Bree is a definite option. It lies far beyond the old forest and far beyond the a place that literally says the Barrow Downs on the map. You don't know, well, perhaps you don't know what it means. If you want to do a lore check, then perhaps you'll know. You'll also know that given the conditions, to move through the old forest, you will be moving at a pace slower than normal as well. Which, if we look at the journey stuff, means, yeah, you'll be moving a speed down.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Lolo, I don't really want to do this, but Lolo's going to squeak up and say, what is it? As long as we are, because right now we're still in the East Farthing, right?
That's yeah, correct. You're in the East Farthing, yes.
Okay. And we're moving towards the Barrowlands.
So you'll be going through the old forest by way of the gate, through the High Hay, and then through the old forest. And yeah, the Barrow Downs would be the next obstacle after the old forest, for sure.
Okay. So Lolo will pipe up and say, as long as we're still in the East Farthing before we get to the Barrow Downs, I can take over for a little while as guide if you want to, since I know the region for well, at least for a little while. And that might help. It might make things a little better, since I mean, everything's different now, but I do know my way around a little bit. If Lolo takes over as guide, since East Farthing's one of her regions, our peril rating will lower by 2.
Okay. I haven't been using peril ratings in
Yeah.
anyway.
We're not using that journey mechanic.
But
Damn it.
what I will say is I will take that into account as you being a
Maybe
a
if you're the
navigator
scout,
or a scout, yeah.
then you could lower the DC for spotting baddies or something.
Very good.
Something
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
what we'll do.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
so
cool.
if you want to scout, then that's an option. But you all have to agree on what other roles you're going to be doing.
Is there a river in the Old Forest? Yeah.
Oh
right?
yes. Well,
It's
actually,
the Wither Wold something or something.
Withy
the Withy Windle, but
Withy
whether you know that
Windle.
or not is down to a check, I think. So
Okay.
let us
Well, I have
see.
that map, right? So I think
Oh,
that's.
of course you will. Yeah,
so
yeah. You
we
see that
just-
there's a river then in that case. Yeah, yeah.
So I'm just thinking if, like, that will be the most direct way to get through the Old Forest. If it's frozen, we can walk on it.
Mhm.
And if it's not frozen, then we can stand near it and it gives us better view of the area because it's not thick forest. And it's sort of the most direct route from where we are to Bree. Like it'll bring us out close to Bree, I mean, comparatively. So I think like that might be a good route to take if we follow the river. If it's not frozen, but I assume it is, everything's frozen, but if it's not frozen, we could even get a boat and like paddle our way up it.
By the look, it doesn't appear to be anywhere near as wide as a Brandywine.
Yeah, okay.
And you can just take a look at the map, and you can tell that you can probably reach the Withy Windle like with 2 days' journey into the heart of the Old Forest.
Okay. So I would say that's not a bad idea. Then we come out, we have to go through a little bit of Barrow Downs, it looks like, and then into Bree. Is that right? I mean, I don't have the map at where, I don't know.
Yeah, so there's a good portion of the Barrow Downs before you
Okay.
get to Bree, but
Do you have, can you give me the map?
yeah,
I've misplaced it.
Yeah, the bear with
Because,
bear with.
you know, with the Middle Earth, there are like 600 versions of the same map,
I
and they
know,
have different
yeah.
distances and different, like,
The
just so I can sort of make some reasonable.
Yeah, the other thing is
estimations.
I've been using because I've been using too because of that. There's a more zoomed in one of the Shire, which Tolkien himself actually drew, and then there's the interactive map. Have you got?
Oh,
You
yeah.
know that one? I like using that one for the broad scope. In
Yeah,
terms
because
of distance.
a lot of the Shire maps now stop. They stop at Brandy Hall or like at that sort of area.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if you bring up the interactive map, and I can put that in the chat. If you don't
Yeah.
have
Okay.
it,
Okay. Yeah, I see.
it's a great one. There we go. So yeah, you have the Old Forest, and then you have basically the spine of barrows and rising mounds, which is the Barrow Downs. And then beyond that, then yeah, there is Bree, but the Old Forest and the Barrow Downs act as significant obstacles in your way between Bree. So
Yeah.
it is relatively close, but it won't be easy to get through those in these conditions. But it seems like your best course of action.
Yeah, I think so. It's hard to recommend anything else, I think. If it wasn't snowy, we would just take a road, right? But
Yeah, if it wasn't snowy, you could probably go north.
Yeah.
But the open territory is
Very dangerous.
Too dangerous. Yeah.
what do you guys think? I would say that's probably our best bet.
Agreed.
Yep, agreed.
Okay, so he'll sort of plan the route that way then, I guess. The intent to sort of cut as quickly as possible towards the Withy Windle, whatever it's called.
Withy Windle, yeah.
And then follow that river and make as good time as we can to get out, and then through the Barrow Downs. There's like, it looks like, I have a more zoomed in map, but it looks like there's a road that the Great East Road that leads to Bree, that cuts between the Barrow Downs and the forest.
Yeah, but that's that position up there where it crosses the river. That would be where the Brandywine is. You headed further south to cross in the middle of where so you're sort of in the middle bit between the river and where the Old Forest is currently. That's where you are.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so but you can absolutely come out of the Old Forest, follow the river, so you're sort of going northeast almost, to then exit the forest to reach the road, to then travel to Bree. If you want to try and reach the road, you could absolutely do that.
Okay. So I'm just, because the interactive one is so zoomed out that I can't really get a good
It is hard, yeah.
impression. So I've just been looking at this and put it into the chat. I know it doesn't really matter that much, but it like makes me have
no, for sure,
better brain space of like
where we are. There's that one as well. That's a really good one, actually. Yeah, that's great.
So if we're at Bucklebury, Is that where we are, roughly?
Let's see. Yeah, so Buckleberry Ferry, and then it should say
There's Quick Hollow.
Randy Hall. Quick, yeah. So where it says Buckleberry, yeah, that's where you are. Yeah.
So then we would like cut through the forest to the river, follow the river, and then come out. What we could do is come out north of where it says Bree Land and Bree, and follow the road down into Bree, and that would give us less time in the Barrowlands.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's worthwhile. I mean, I guess we would have heard stories about the Barrow Downs and Barrowlands, maybe. Maybe I should do a roll, huh?
I think you should do a shadow law or a law, and all of you can do that if you wish to increase your chances, if you have it.
It's a crit, Rob. The dice have decided today I'm going to not fail a single roll, apparently.
You are just a hobbit of yore.
Yeah.
you are the hero. Well,
cool. We'll call it shadow law or riddle or whichever one you think makes the most sense.
Yeah, well, I mean, we all know about the Barrow Downs. You, as a hobbit, have heard that it is a place of immense terror. Probably one of the main reasons why a lot of hobbits will never leave the Shire in their entire lives is because it's because of the stories that come from there. And they're always mixed and they're always conflicting. But for the most part, you've just heard tales of this terrible mist that seems to descend, that disorients all travelers, and you hear stories of great reaching hands that allegedly reach from beyond a veil of life almost to reach out and pluck life from you. Those are the kinds of stories that you hear about the Barrow Downs.
I think those are the kinds of stories that would make Fred take any option that allows them not to go through the Barrow Downs.
For sure,
you know?
For sure.
Even if it's not efficient, I think he would like want to avoid that like the plague, because it's already scary enough dealing with like one warg. Never mind whatever like horrors await there. So I think maybe the others would sense that in him too, that he's like really determined to find a route that doesn't go through the Barrow Downs, and maybe that's not as efficient as he usually is, but would sense that he's afraid to go there. But it's like the first time maybe that he's making executive decisions on the route that are not the most direct or safest path necessarily. So I don't know if anyone wants to call him on that or say something, but that's sort of the decision he would make, would be to go along the river and then cut through to that road and then follow the road debris rather than go through the Barrow Downs.
So let me make sure I'm following. Take the river through the forest and then cut across the forest, get off the river, and then go to the road.
Yes.
Head more northerly from the river to the road and then cut it back to east to Bree.
Yeah, I'm gonna draw it on the map real quick, and then
if you can, that would be awesome. Actually, that's a great idea.
I think I understand, but I'm only like 60% sure.
As long as I mean, we're all sure that you want to do as less time in or near the Barrow Downs as possible, which is entirely understandable given its reputation.
Yeah, I don't think Mara says anything, but I got a 19 on my roll. So I think probably not quite as much as Fred, because he's not a world traveler like Fred. But he's heard enough little tales of the Downs that the minute Fred offers any sort of plan that doesn't have us going through there, I think that Mara's totally on board.
I got you, Tay. So basically we're doing like a instead of a straight across.
Yeah,
it's kind of a zigzag. Yeah,
that's exactly it. Yep, that's exactly it. So we get like, or even before that, we could just cut through and then. But that's exactly what I want to do: is come down through that road instead of.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if we were talking about like going north while we were still in the forest at like that narrow stretch.
Yeah, that's sort of where it says where the WI is. We could cut across that way and but basically I want to make sure that we're going
the WI at the Withy or the WI at the Windle?
Windle. At the Windle.
Because I was wondering if like we take it at like where it's kind of narrow by like River Withy.
We could do that. I think we want to avoid, like, my thinking is that the closer we are to Bree, the less likely there is to be trouble because there are big men there and they can.
Mhm.
I mean, that's what Fred would think. Whether that's
If
true or
we
not,
if
you
we
know?
take the Windle like where you're thinking, because
Mhm.
even though it is a wee bit narrower, we're then skirting against the Barrow Downs.
Yeah,
Like we're
Yeah.
like right up against them.
yeah. So if we cut maybe where the Y is, the Withy, the Y, if we cut straight across there and come out in the road, does that make sense? I know this is like
I'm like laughing. I'm like laughing inside because I'm like that's like going through the dark forest, but you're skirting too close to the plains. Too close to the plains.
yeah. Yeah, I know this is probably like
Valheim references.
way more detail than is necessary, but I think it's important.
No, listen, I've told you to plan your route, and you're planning a route. That's absolutely fine by me.
So if that makes sense to you as well, Rob, we'll go through the river, and then where it says Withy Windle, where the Y is, we'll cut through the forest onto the road, and then follow the road into Bree.
Absolutely.
Is that okay?
That's fine. Is there anything else that you'd like, any of you would like to add to that before sleep falls? You fall to sleep, and we begin.
I'm hoping that they feed us really well also before.
Oh, I should have said, of course. Yeah.
Ah.
So before that, like as you're like having this discussion, yeah, absolutely. You're brought again, it's winter, so it's probably gonna be some kind of stew that they can sort of like dole out to and sort of like thicken whatever ingredients they have. But yeah, this delicious venison stew is brought before you. They've been very lucky and were able to catch something a couple of days beforehand, so you're able to enjoy that and a rich tankard of ale. For the supply, by the way, you are given 12 supply that if you'd like to add that to your total, and that makes up for both food and pipeweed. Your stores are topped up. And then yeah, you talk deep into the night before your plans are drawn, and then one by one you fall asleep. That's a good question. Can one of you please do you need that link again? I can see if I can.
Is this day 5?
I already got it. I got the link.
Yeah,
but
so the day that will be that we'll start will
finishing
be
day
5. Yeah, this is the end of day 4. We'll be going into day 5.
what supply did we use day 4? I didn't write any down.
You would have had. You didn't have. You were given.
We're given
You were
breakfast and
fed.
we were
No,
given
yeah,
lunch,
you were
and then I
fed.
think we're
You
Yeah.
were fed by
Okay, great.
by people in the marish, and then that evening. So you wouldn't have eaten tonight.
We were
but
fed, then there was running and screaming.
Then there was
running
and
screaming.
Yeah.
and
there
then
was
you were fed.
breakfast
So.
with the family with the house that fell down,
The
right?
Brown
That's
locks,
right,
what are they called?
That's
Then
yeah, so the
lunch
brown
with the
rocks.
cousin.
Lunch with the with Benji Cotton, and then so you're like doing a restaurant tour.
It's just a lovely little tour. It's like the trip, you know?
It is like the trip, yeah. And then then lots of running and screaming, and then more food.
We gained 12 from this
Gain
place.
12 from
So we
Brandy
would have gained
Hall.
17 yesterday then.
Oh damn.
That's huge. Okay, that's really encouraging. If we can't find food along the way, we might actually make it to wherever we're going. Until something comes along and steals our food, guaranteed a warg is going to bite a bag and be like, "Oh, lovely meat,
Lovely
Yeah.
meat." Got a taste for it when Lolo threw that like bit of supplies. Like, oh, that's quite nice.
Oh,
actually.
love a rasher,
I
actually."
love- It's not bad.
Potatoes.
Yeah, potatoes. What is this? Peace was found. No, right. So sleep begins to take you all, and let me see. Well, listen, you got a crit on that shadow law, right, Lloyd?
I did, yeah. So it would have been a 20 total.
So as you drift off to sleep, then it's almost like it's almost like you're hearing lullabies from when you're a child, but then that song morphs into cold be hand and heart and bone, and cold be sleep under stone, never more to wake on stony bed, never till the sun fails and the moon is dead. And that is sort of like you are then met with troubled dreams as your conversations of the Barrow Downs infect your sleep for the night. Thank
Yeah,
you,
I
not
reckon
enough.
his
Go.
granddad probably told him about the Barrowdowns once or twice, or maybe his great granddad went, because he has got someone in his path for sure who did an adventure, because he's got the dwarven pots and he whatever. So he knows someone. It was either his granddad or his great granddad. Someone went, and maybe they brought back a bunch of rhymes and unpleasant stories about the Barrowdowns, and that's why he has this like weird fear about it.
Mhm. Very good. So the next morning comes, as they say, you're provided with that supply, and you are bidden a fond farewell from Gorbadoc, who says that you are to go to the door upon the eastern side of Buck Hill. You're directed there, and when you hear the cry or the call of horns, that is when you go, and that is when the distraction of is going to be made to ensure that you can get to the gate through the High Hay and into the Old Forest. So there's a brief pause before those doors open, where you'll be rushing out into the snow once again. Is there anything you wish to say before that happens?
Fred will just say, we stick together and we don't leave anybody behind. If they come after us again, we'll do what we did last time. We distract them, and we run, and we hide.
Papa Doc, thank you for taking us in. And we'll do our best to do our family proud and to help our home.
It's a grandfatherly hand upon your shoulder, and he says, "You've always made me proud, Lolo. Go on now, get you going."
She sniffles. Yeah, okay. Until next time. Bye.
There is a woo, and it's answered with another woo. Suddenly, Buck Hill is alive with the sound of hunting horns, sounding out from all across the Buckleberry riverbank. And the door is flung open, and into the wide world you go once again. And we will start the day with a navigation check, a gatherer check, and a scouting check, please.
What's everybody doing?
That's a good question, yes.
I think Lolo was going to do scouting, so it would, right? Was that?
Yeah. Oh, what is that?
So you're scouting
perception.
ahead, so
Yeah.
you can do stealthy or
Bless.
perception sort of things, yeah.
Okay.
And your role as the scout, I should just bring it up, will be to move ahead and ensure that you don't run into danger.
It's a dirty 20.
Oh my
Nice.
goodness.
Perception is my new jam.
It's the new jam.
Do you want to navigate, Taylor, or do you want to gather food, or do we want to let Mara do something? I don't mind stepping back.
Well, you'll definitely be doing visual checks by the end of the day, so all four of you will be making rolls this time.
Okay.
I'll do whatever.
Okay. If you don't have a preference, I'll just keep navigating.
Yeah, go ahead and navigate.
Okay. Dirty 20 as well, 16 plus 4.
Oh my goodness, great.
And
So
then I'll work on gather, I guess.
Okay.
Unless Lionel, you want to do gather.
I do not trust my dice, so
You go for it.
Okay. Oh, that was a good one. Yeah, 24 gather.
24 on gather. Oh my goodness me.
22. 22.
22. Wow. Okay, Taylor, first of all, I want you to roll us a d4. And depending on how much you get will determine what you describe you find or what
Oh,
it is that you
one.
can potentially one.
Oh, such a high roll and 1. Oh.
I don't think 1 counts as a brace of conies. So what do you think you do find with a 1 to add to your supply, Taylor?
Yeah, I think rather than like a brace of conies, it's like a very familiar but just it looks like a rock. Oh, look, a potato. It's like one frozen solid potato that must have fallen out of someone's pag at some point. Like, huh.
I love that.
Just like stumbles over, like, oh, look at that.
Listen, that's like finding money in the Shire. My God, a potato. Perfect. Very good. So we had Dirty 20 on navigation and Dirty 20 on scouting as well. So your morning effectively begins with you, rushing out of Buck Hill as the horns sound, and you have been given directions. It isn't far, and it isn't hard to find. You see this broad wooden gate that is set into the High Hay, which is basically this giant haystack that rises up above you. You're able to pass through this gate, and suddenly light and visibility drops immediately. Before you is a narrow path that leads a winding route through twisted trees and great archways of roots that reach out of the ground before diving back in, as if some aquatic creature diving between the waves almost. You see before you fleetingly a white fox sitting upon one of these large tree roots. It takes like an inquisitive look at you. You might not have ever seen one of these before, and it gives a flick of its tail and vanishes before you can notch an arrow into your bow, because food's food, right? But you are able to press on into the old forest. Immediately there's sort of like a tranquil feeling that falls across you as a company as well. You don't find that you are sharing much talk. As single file, you walk along this path, and the trees seem incredibly overbearing. They sort of reach over as if they're creating archways for you to walk beneath as you follow this path. You were given breakfast in the morning. However, as afternoon arrives, you're each going to need to take a supply as you enjoy lunch. And we can have a further gathering and scouting roll, please, for the afternoon.
Fred will tell them not to chop any wood for firewood, to use what we've got, and not to cause any hassle with the trees.
I'm scouting, right? Or is that, yeah, because you're navigation. 15.
Okay, 15 for scouting.
18 on gather.
18 on gather. So let's begin with gather. Taylor, if you'd like to roll a d4 for me again, please.
That one is a 4.
Perfect. What do you think you find with a 4?
Maybe now I find the brace of ponies.
Ah, okay.
There we go. Everyone could get a meal out of that.
Yep, so you're able to use your wiles to trap some conies, and you're effectively able to top up what you're using for lunch. So that's pretty good. Lola, that was a 15 for scouting, yes?
That's not great. It's not bad, but it's not great. You said it was dark in the canopy, right? I think Lolo's beginning to realize that she can't effing see anything, and so she's gonna light up a torch.
You lighted up a torch, did you just say?
Yes.
Okay, can you all each give me perception checks, please, as Lolo lights up a torch? Perception checks, please.
This is great. I think Fred is like distracted because he's been talking about already not chopping down trees and not trying to annoy them. And then maybe he hears the like of the tinder, and he's like, what? He like turns too late and he's like, Lolo!
17. Huh? What's wrong, Mr. Fred?
It's the sausages, nice crispy bacon. Which says, put it out, you fools! Put it out, you fools! It is
23 perception from Fred. Jesus
oh my
Christ.
goodness.
16 for me.
So anyone that who got more than 18? Sorry, that because there was
Me.
okay. Even as you're saying it, it's probably the thing that triggers you to like rush to Lola, like other than the initial her lighting a torch. You see, you don't know whether you see it properly or not, and whether it's just a trick of the light or whatever, but there is a branch that was significantly higher than it had been a moment ago. And as Lolo's sort of like reaching up to like light and like waves the lit torch above her head for the first time, you see silhouetted above her this great branch. It looks like a reaching hand, like right above her. And as you spot it and tell her to put it out, it's almost like it is just reached her head and stops.
Good tree. Nice tree. No fire. Lolo, put out the fire.
But it's so hard to see, Mr. Fred.
Yes, well, we won't see anything ever again if we have the fire lit.
But
Lolo,
that's
put it
not
out.
fire.
She snuffs it down into the snow.
But I don't understand. Oh, woods. Right.
Yes, and the
Woods.
trees are very sensitive, and I saw it move to come to get you. You must be very careful not to offend them.
It was probably one of its relations. Mara tries to make a little joke.
No, I'm certain it's from a different place entirely. We got this wood far away, imported
Well, I
from Linden.
brought these with me.
Phloxanna does have night vision as a treasure hunter, so I can treat dim light as a bright light and no light as a dim light for 60 feet.
Perfect. Okay, I'll do my best to remember that. And if there are other checks that we have to make where darkness is against you, you will have an advantage in that. Perfect.
I think Mara picks up on what Fred is putting down and says really loudly, "You're right. Imported from Linden." And he gives him a wink.
No, they're not imported. They were just from home.
So you're able to continue, if there was any other circumstance, you would maybe find this place to be beautiful. It's quite macabre. Like all the trees sort of appear to be like like reaching forth with clawed fingers, and you see gnarled sort of like hollows in them that are like great mouths. But with snow serenely falling from their branches, and every now and then you catch like a beam of light from the sun that is beginning to fall behind the horizon. Yeah, it looks to be a wondrous place. But then, as I say, night begins to fall, and we make our last checks of the day, which are navigation to check your progress, gathering to see if you can get anything else to top up your stores, scouting, and vigil. So all 4 rolls, please.
Nothing for gather.
Yeah.
Vigil uses perception, right?
Yeah.
Okay, 18 for me.
Oh, that's great. Okay. We have a 20 on navigate. Perfect. 16 on the scout. So unfortunately, Phlox isn't able to find anything to top up your stores. So unfortunate, but you've come to expect that a lot of these times you're going to be disappointed in the heights for winter. That was 16 for Scout, Lolo.
Yeah, for some reason my dice no longer love me because I've got a +6.
I mean, there's an ominous feeling that appears to sort of like follow you as you're going through this forest. Like the unmistakable feeling as if you're being watched.
Once per day, you can do a roll with expertise.
Once a day, you
Yes.
can do a roll with expertise. So you can
18.
that +2, I told you. There we go.
Thanks, Tay.
And while you have that ominous feeling, you are confident that nothing will approach you at this position without you knowing about it. So you're able to sort of press back and tell your companions of this. And Mara, what was your check on vigil? Sorry, 18.
18, yeah.
Was 18. Where do you think you are setting your camp up? What would it look like? What would your specifications be?
Yeah, I think it's like this little inlet on the I'm not even gonna try to say the river name. Withy Windle.
Perfect.
It like it's little. It's not quite big enough to be called a cove, but to hobbits, we could call it a little bit of a cove because we're not so big. So it's kind of nestled in there. The banks are a little bit higher here, so the snow is kind of packed up on it. So I think because we're not going to have a fire or anything, it kind of gives us a little bit of shelter from the wind. And it's probably the best thing that Mara is able to find with the fleeing light, and not all of us can see as well as Phloxanna can. So he kind of shrugs his shoulders, says, "This is probably the best we're going to get." And I think he would just take this long knife that he has. He calls it a sword, but anyone that looks at him, like definitely Fred would like look at that and say that is not a sword, but he thinks it is. And he kind of chips away a little bit at the ice by the bank, just so they can get some water.
Very good. And you're able to set up a respectable camp, Fred.
Yeah, quite cozy, he'll say, after we get it set up. It's not, but he wants Mara to feel like he's done a good job. And he'll put up the tents or whatever and help with any of the physical labor that has to be done.
Perfect. And you got 20 on your navigate, yes?
Yeah, that's right. So I think he just like confirms that we've taken the route that we expected to. It's kind of easier maybe with the river. Gonna just follow the route. So
yeah, and you're pretty confident that you're sort of heading in the right direction. You know, by the end of the next day. Yes, by the end of the next day, you should be arriving at the banks of the Withy Windle. Are you lighting fires? Are you putting watches up?
Watches, yes. Fires, negative.
I think we would try and after what Fred saw, I think we would avoid lighting a fire, but it is middle of winter, so we could just die if we don't have a fire lit.
I think I could make a survival roll, right?
Maybe we could get it real like tucked in and like
dig a
kind
little
of
hole.
build a snowbank kind of around it so that it.
So that's what you would do, right? You would make like a little, like almost, I wouldn't want to call it an igloo, but you would kind of dig a little hole in, like a little burrow, a warren in the snow, and you'd all get in there and you'd all like kind of get all really close.
Mhm.
Yeah, fire pit. And because of your really good vigil roll, Mara, I say that is going to be, you're going to be able to do that. And you will have the benefits of a fire this evening.
Okay, great.
What order is your watch going to be in?
I'll go first.
I'll go second.
I'll go last. I'm old, so I probably wake up at like 4 a.m. anyway.
Well, I'll go third then.
Fourth for Phlox, right? Yeah. Okay. Phlox, you're standing surrounded by lush green grass. The forest around you is in full bloom. There are flowers of many different colors opening around you. The river, winding as it is dappled with lush green lily pads. And a voice speaks to you. It's this voice, it's like the song of glad water coming down like silver. A voice like rain in rivers. And now a whisper, as if awoken early from slumber. O slender as a willow wand, O clearer than clear water, O reed by the living pool, fair river daughter. O springtime and summertime, and spring again after, O wind on the waterfall, and the leaves' laughter. You're looking into the water and you see, it's almost like you're looking at your reflection for a moment, but then you see that your hair is a different color. Your hair, I don't think, is golden and flowing well past your shoulders. You realize that you're not looking at your reflection, you're looking at someone else's reflection entirely. This beautiful woman is looking at you from beneath the surface of the water, and she smiles. And you blink and take a step back, and you hear the familiar crunch as your step back is into snow once again. You feel yourself as if there's a weight dragging you to the floor. You feel as if there are roots growing around you. You see a great branch-like hand reaching towards your throat, its tendrils freezing to your skin. And then you wake up as Fred wakes you up for your watch.
She kind of like jolts like, ooh. Oh. Okay,
Oh.
my turn. Be quiet.
Everything all right?
Yeah, I was having a bad dream. And there was a lady in it. That part wasn't bad. There was a tree.
Just keep your eyes open, I suppose. Watch for the trees. I think I saw one or two of them move.
Okay, I'll watch.
Just be polite to them.
What beautiful branches you have.
Fred does like a thumbs up, like.
Your watch probably continues like that. You occasionally reminding the trees around you how beautiful and how gracious they are.
Majestic, really.
You're not approached in the night, and thankfully your fire hasn't been set upon by the reaching branches of what grows around you. A new morning has come, the morning of the 6th day, and we will have, once again, navigation, gathering, and scouting rolls, please.
$16 on gather.
16 on gather. Is unfortunately not enough. 15 on navigation, unfortunately, is also not enough.
I will use my map once per day to, what does it let me do? Add
It
my
allows
proficiency
you
again.
to double your proficiency.
So they'll put it at 17 then.
Would also be a failure,
Oh,
so you can save it.
okay.
Is 18?
18 is a success.
Okay, then I will use mine because I was at 16.
Good idea. Okay. So you were doing gathering then in that case. So if a D4 then please for your gathering. Navigation unfortunately is a failure. We had 22 on scout, which is great. We will get to that in a moment. So a D4 for your gathering, please.
3.
3. Okay, what do you think you get with a 3?
I think with a 3, she's rummaging around on the bank of this river that they're at. What the hell is a squam?
I don't know.
She's rummaging around at the bank of this river, and the mud is frozen, but she sees these little holes sticking up, and she knows what these are. So she digs down, and you can find little frozen frogs in there, in the mud, and so now you can thaw and then cook said frogs.
Oh, very good. Oh, not frogsicles then. That's a shame.
Oh no.
No, very good. Yeah, so you find these sort of springs that will eventually lead into the Witherwindle, and yeah, you find those and are able to add them to your supply. Very good. 22 on scouts. You, Lolo, are moving through this labyrinth of twisted roots and frozen bracken and bramble. And while you don't see anything of that appears to be like immediately threatening to you, you do see that beyond, it's almost like you're reaching sort of like the crest of a hill in this forest, that beyond there is some kind of almost what looks like a clearing or a glade beyond that you might be able to reach by the afternoon.
Ooh. Okay. Lolo's excited for that, and she's gonna go back and be like, Mr. Fred, it looks like up ahead there's an opening in the trees. Like it thins out. It's like a clearing.
Yes, that's good. That's we should head that way, I think. He's lost. He doesn't. As soon as they got into the forest, it all fell apart. Like he's really good at planning a route when he's in a comfy house, but it's different when he gets out into the wilderness. He's not an experienced wanderer or traveler, and so once you're in a forest and you have no bearings, he's a little bit lost. So he'll say, "Yes, let's head that way," and then he'll sort of be peeking at the map every now and then to see if you can find like if there's a clearing on the map or whatever. But I think it's good to head there.
It's probably worth mentioning, Lolo, that the path that you took to get back to them from your scouting is slightly different to the one that you took in your initial leading. It's almost like you're being led in different directions.
Moving around or something. Yeah, very sus.
But yeah, you press into the afternoon. So if you'd like to take further from your supply as you enjoy your frogs or whatever it is you decide to take from your supply that day. And we'll have a gathering and scouting roll again, please.
One gather.
23 for scouting. That's excellent.
It's only 2 on the D4.
2 on the D4. Okay, you can think about what it is that you recover with that too. We will continue with Lolo for a moment. So you press it in your hand, and sure enough, you arrive at this clearing. And you see a number of things. First of all, I'll explain your surroundings. You move through an opening of this trees, and you do indeed come across a glade. And you see snow is falling tranquilly upon what looks like a long forgotten ruin. There's bright grey light shining above that kind of gleams upon a great standing stone. And this stone has a hollow center, and something is gleaming within it. What do you think that 2 for supply was, Phlox?
Beech nuts.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, very good. Can roast those on a fire. We'll just have them as is. But yeah, the rest of you are able to catch up to Lolo eventually, and you each see this clearing and this great standing stone.
There's something shiny in the rock.
Well, let's have a look.
Yeah, if one of you to reach inside, you would see that there is what appears to be like a leather-bound package, but it's been sort of wrapped and tied with leather cord. But there is a glint of steel, in like a gap where it doesn't fully cover it or whatever. If you open it, you see that there are 2 daggers inside with ornate ornamental sheaths. There is also what looks like a severed head of a spear, so like almost like a foot of shaft, and then the spear head itself, and 5 ornately made and frankly foreign looking arrows.
What's all this?
Somebody must have put it here because they meant to come back for it. But from the look of, what is that? Is that moss? There's some moss on there. I don't think they're coming back.
Well, they won't miss what they don't have, and we need it.
It's weird, actually, Lolo. It's you feel that something or other. Yeah, these things haven't been touched for a very long time. There is layers of moss across it and ice as well, but it does feel almost like you've been brought here. If any of you would like to make a lore check upon either the stones or the array of weapons you have found, by all means.
I will do the stone because that's what Mara's looking at.
Okay.
I don't know anything, so it doesn't matter.
Nice.
I'll do the weapons, and let's see.
Yeah.
Loa. That is a dirty 20 for Mara.
Ooh, okay.
Lore?
Yeah, lore.
18.
18 on the weapons. Okay, so we'll start with the stone. Mara, you're looking at the layout of it, and as you're quite used to, or rather, you're a bit of a dab hand at making a camp. It seems from your performance yesterday, you see that this is what would have been some kind of perfect area for an encampment. Clear lines of sight. You've got sort of a raised mound, and these rocks provide good cover against the elements. But you notice that deep into the rock there are carvings that perhaps you remember from an old storybook of some kind. Stories that spoke of the big folk, great men that came from across the sea a long time ago. And this sort of matches up with what Fred is thinking when he looks upon these blades. While you're not are able to perhaps speak it, unless you can, I don't know. There are runes, Adonaic runes upon a number of these weapons. So you might not be able to read them, but yeah, these are 2 daggers would basically act as short swords. The spear would be like a one-handed spear, basically. And these arrows are pretty great as well. I'm just going to put them in the chat, actually. That's be easier, won't it? Very much like Western-S.
Yeah, I think the Western-S was what the Numenorians used to forge their weapons, was what it was called, Western-S steel or something like that. So I think as that's happening, like I think Mara's totally oblivious to the weapons, but the others would just hear this scraping on the stone, and they hear Mara go, curious, as he's scratching and kind of using his long knife to kind of clean out some of the ice and snow from some of these markings. He still can't read it, but he still thinks it's pretty amazing. he goes, if only I'd have brought my my rubbing paper and well, there's nothing for it.
If one of you were to, I mean, Fred, you're looking at these things. If you were to actually unsheath one of these blades for a moment, it's almost like you see an imperceptible red flash, almost like almost like it's a spark, almost as you free the blade from its years and years and years of slumber in this scabbard.
These are very finely made, much better than this old thing. And he'll rattle the old leather sharpening blade that he has. This is a very fortuitous find. If we have to fight, then we're equipped for it.
Well, I don't think we're going to be able to use these etchings for fighting. I don't really see. What's that? And I think that's when Mara would realize you guys have this clutch of weapons.
Do you still have your walking stick, Mara?
No, I threw it.
It's just the point of the spear, is it, Rob?
It's the point of the spear head, and then like a foot of shaft.
Oh, okay.
You can see that a long time ago it would have been like smashed, so you can kind of hold it like that. I know we've always done spears as D8s.
Yeah.
I know that would usually be because it's two-handed, but whatever, it's Numenorian.
Cool, yeah. Okay, so it's like a spear, like a sword spear for a Hobbit.
Sword spear for a Hobbit.
Yeah. Okay, great. He's like holding this like bundle of all these like relics, and he like thinks for a moment about his like dwarven copper pot that he like lost, and thinks like, well, if you do good will come to you, I suppose. Then he'll just like hand them out to whoever wants, whatever you guys want to take. I think everyone can use a dagger pretty handily, right? Like it's useful for
it's like a short sword, right?
Yeah, these acts as short swords, sure.
I'll probably keep the spear because I'm a fighter.
I'd really fancy one of those there shiny daggers. I can't remember the exact words from the movies when they get rope. And Sam gets rope instead of the dagger.
And a box of dirt.
Okay, does anyone like love to use a bow?
I think that's Lolo's jam.
That's Lolo, yeah.
I'll take the arrows, Mr. Fred. Oh, look at them.
So finely made, and he'll hand them to you. I've never seen work like this.
The tips are, wow. We don't do tips like that. We do tips like this.
Yeah. It's just like a stone at the end of the arrow.
It's sort of a rock tied to it. I mean, I think that's quite good actually that you're paying attention to the tip, because obviously I think like a full size arrow probably wouldn't work for a Hobbit bow. So I imagine you could maybe just like use that for your own means, but it'll have the same effect. So that's fine. It's kind of weird being here, to be honest. It doesn't seem likely to stumble across these things.
Does it look like they were left here more recently than when it would have? Because the Numenorians, that really harkens back, to the Second Age.
It does, yeah.
But there would have been like Arnor and Curdling and all that sort of stuff was around here, and
the fractured kingdoms. Mm-hmm. But even that would have been at the start of the Third Age.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we're like what, year 3000 plus, right? In the Third Age.
Yeah,
I think these are really,
you're in the Third Age.
Old.
These are very old
and not rusted and not in bits. Like they're obviously made of fine stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, you recognize that the Numenorian make, right, Fred? Yeah. And Mara recognizes that the actual that the etchings on the stone date back to some. It's just like this was a Numenorian watch site or something.
Rest site or something, yeah.
Yeah, rest site.
What might fill your brain with a little bit of paranoia, particularly Fred, because of the conversation earlier, being that you're sort of, you know, that those stories are also linked to the Baradowns, which lie beyond the forest.
I'm glad I don't know that.
Yeah. So there's that to consider as well, but a healthy find, and perhaps it lifts your spirits in the darkening woods. We have some, unless there's anything else that you want to do whilst you're at the Standing Stones. You realise that if you're still on target, you will reach the banks of the Withywindle by nightfall.
Yeah, Fred will take his spear and he'll use it as walking stick as he is walking, but it's like this beautiful gleam. So he doesn't want it to get wet or anything or frozen. So he'll rip a bit of leather from one of his spare pieces of clothing and he'll make a little covering for it. Scabbard is too generous a word for what he makes. It's more just like a little sheath that he can put the fancy steel in. And yeah, keen to keep going.
Perfect. Let's make the final rolls then. We'll have a gather, scout, navigation, and visual. Very good. You're on target. Lolo for scouting, unfortunate. Yeah, even though right now the DC at this point is 18, so anything beneath 18 is a no.
Yeah. I just missed it with a 10.
Oh, just. Yeah. So
Barely.
how are we doing for gathering?
Just one.
Just one. Okay. Well, your journey sort of like continues along this winding path of roots and frosted over bracken. And it's almost like you can hear the sounds of, not the sounds, how do I put this? Snow is basically whirling around you, like the wind's starting to pick up through the branch of the trees. Snow is beginning to lift off the branches of the trees. And your navigation is great, Fred, so you've done enough to be able to keep yourself on target. Lola, you were surprised when you suddenly come across an area that you hadn't expected on your scouting. You're almost caught by surprise, a little flat-footed. You see, nestled amongst the trees by the banks of a frozen river, nowhere near as wide as the Brandywine, but still very wide, you see a house. It appears to be half ruined almost. There are no shutters on the windows. There appears to be like a gaping hole in the roof. And it appears to be made of like incredibly old wood, and there are carvings not too dissimilar to what the carvings that you saw in Brandy Hall, actually. This house rests upon the banks of the Withywindle, and is thankful in a way because you found some shelter, which will make up for Mara's lacking vigilant role to be able to make you a successful camp. If you wish to choose to rest there, that is.
This looks like the best we have.
What fortune! I look at it's. What is it? I think we can all fit inside of there. I mean, it's kind of falling apart, but who cares? We're just going to be there for a little while, right?
Right. You can even light a fire without upsetting the trees.
3.5 walls is better than no walls.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And nothing bad will probably happen, right? Looks at Fred, looks at Phlox, looks at Lolo.
No, like
we've had a string of good luck.
Okay, so if you choose to make camp there, if you were to look inside, you would see that there is a long hall inside, and there is a great oaken table within with benches that are pushed to the walls. Inside there are wooden carvings once again, and hanging from a hook that is sort of almost like a branch has grown out of it, almost like rather than like a hook nailed into the wall, it's like carved out of the wood almost. You see a gnarly, half muddied yellow hat with a blue feather in its band. There is a hearth, but there is no fire within it.
Oh, that hat looks moldy.
I think Mara's going to trot up to the hat. Like it's up on a hook, you said?
Yep.
Kind of pull it off.
Yep, it falls sort of like dully into your arms. Yeah, it looks a bit moth-eaten and a bit ragged, but yeah, it looks all right.
He's going to put it on his head. Turn around to his friends.
Mara, no.
It's so dirty.
Oh, I shook it out first.
Mara, put that down. You don't know
I
where.
think it's kind of charming.
He kind of takes strikes a different pose, kind of hands on hips, kind of like semi-profile. I kind of like it. I could clean it up a bit more, I think.
You had the
Suits me.
feather in before, I think. It does suit you.
I lost that a long time ago, probably when I was crossing the Brandywine. I'm going to keep it.
Suit yourself.
So, checks have been made. You are here so you can rest here, and like rightly say, you'll be able to light a fire in the hearth, and you're able to make some food with your supply and enjoy an evening of relative safety and comfort. Will you each go to sleep, or will you set a watch again?
Set a watch for sure.
Watches for sure.
Same order?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Phlox, once again, you are standing beside the banks of a river. And this time, you see a house. The house that you are currently, staying in. But where the roof that you'd initially seen it, there was a great hole in it and was frosted and covered in snow. Now it is thatched and blooming with hundreds of flowers. Bees buzz around you, birds are in the trees, and you look into the water, and once again you see that reflection of that golden-haired lady who is beautiful beyond words. And now standing next to this lady, there is a figure with a great beard and a large yellow hat with a blue feather sticking it. And they smile at you, but then they suddenly look at you as if to raise alarm or give warning. And that familiar lurching happens once again, where you're back in the snow. And at first you feel like it's branches reaching for your throat, but this time they are not branches. Cold hands with blackened dead fingers are reaching towards your throat. And that is where we're going to take a quick break.
I think it would be really, really cute if Lolo was like while we're sitting there and we're, doing our lunch or whatever, if she's like,
Mr. Fred, I know that you threw your paw at the wolf to save us when we were on the ice, and you know, Belladonna gave me this really great pot. Would you like it?
Oh, that's very kind of you. And he's like a bit overwhelmed by like getting offered this lovely thing, and he'll sort of say, oh, "Yes, thank you. It's very, very nice of you."
Here you go. It's part of the netting that's holding it tore a little bit when we were running last time, but you could probably fix that up. I've been meaning to. I just keep forgetting.
It's all right. I'll see to it. Thank you.
We'll say that this conversation is taking place as you're enjoying your breakfast, I think. Phlox, you'll have woken once again for your final watch, so you probably already be awake at this point. I think we should just do our rolls. Let's do the rolls again, shall we? So that is a navigation, gathering and scouting, please.
Negative
I'm going
on
to
the
use.
gather.
I'm going to use my item
Mm-hmm.
once per day to bring myself from a fail to a success. I'll go from 17 to 19.
Perfect.
Whew.
Okay, so navigation, scouting, a success, a failure on the gathering. Yeah,
Oh,
so
Yeah.
sorry,
Here's
go
a
ahead.
question. What are we using for these rolls? Is there a particular skill? I've just been using survival for gather.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not.
You can
I'm
sort
not
of
too-
pick, right?
Pick. Yeah, you pick which one sort of works. Really, that's what I've
Okay.
been sort of been going
My
on.
stealth is better. Would that count
Um,
for gathered? Like
Yeah, because you got to sneak up on stuff.
that's only
next
if you're
time, yeah.
hunting.
Next time you can use your stealth. Sure. Next time you can.
Yeah.
Okay. So your navigation, your scouting are going well, but the thing is, what lies before you currently is the Withy Windle. You can absolutely be able to follow it, but you're gonna have to cross it at some point. So you don't have to right now. Like you say, you want to follow it, but it might be worth considering how you're gonna get across it as well. So that's up to you. Is that a conversation you have?
Oh, we're on this side of it, on the south side of it.
Right. So you're on the eastern
It's all
side of it.
frozen
So
over, right?
it is frozen over. Yeah.
Eastern side of it.
Yeah. I need to bring it up again.
Okay, so we came from.
We would be on the western side.
Oh,
if
you're
we
not
wanna get-
aiming
we want
to
to get
cross
on.
it, are you? You just gotta
No.
follow it over.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
of
gonna
course
like
you are.
Okay.
You don't need
walk
to
along
cross
the
it.
bank.
You don't need
Yeah.
to cross it then. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
No problem at all. I don't know what. Yeah, fair play. So yeah, you'll be able to follow it then with your navigation, your scouting. Scouting was really good. Lolo, you find something that even the most skilled trackers would find difficult to spot. You find footsteps. Large footsteps.
In the snow?
Covered footsteps. So you find the footsteps that someone has taken. You basically find the telltale signs of someone that has been covering up their own footsteps. And big footsteps as well. And they don't leave the footprint of a hobbit barefoot. These are of a boot.
That's really big.
It's really big.
That's like bigger than man big.
What's bigger than a man?
Really big man. A bear? It's
A
not a
big
bear
man,
print.
Probably a big man, you could say. Like just a man. But to you, it's big.
Look though. See how it's scraped on the side? Someone was trying to cover it up. Somebody doesn't want to be followed.
Could have just been the wind.
Follow him here.
The wind doesn't blow down this far on the banks. It gets cut off by the trees.
No, wind blows right down the river. Look.
Yeah, but if it was wind blowing down the river, it would be covered up this way, but it's covered up this way.
Well, maybe it blew that way. Mara's just trying to convince you that
we're just sitting here having this debate, like.
Well, it looks like the man who should follow.
Don't we want to find the big ones anyways?
Yes.
Right? So we should follow them.
I can try to follow these and track whomever this is. I mean, as long as they're still going the same direction we're going.
Which way are they headed, Rob? Are they headed east or west or?
Roughly in the same direction that you've been going, along the riverbank.
We should be careful. Not all men are good. And what if it was something else that looks like a man, like an orc or a goblin or a troll?
Wait, what do you mean, Fred, that not all men are good?
You've heard stories about bad men. Evil men.
And trolls.
Servants of the Dark Lord.
Oh, yeah, but those guys, they're all gone. That was a long time ago. I mean, all those bad guys they're dust, right?
Well, I don't know. I didn't expect to be speaking wargs either, and here we are.
Well, I never heard him speak, but I'll trust you guys that it talks. I mean, probably the wind.
It was not the wind.
Could have been.
It was not the wind. To shout.
yeah, he definitely cowers down on that. He's like, okay, yep. So let's follow the footprints.
So if I'm tracking, I know the exact number, sizes, and how recently something passed through.
Okay. You know that this is the tracks of a singular man. So yeah, single man, and those tracks look fairly fresh, like they were trod here last night.
Do they look like bad man tracks, Lolo?
Kind of. I feel a little weird about this, but the person who left these tracks, it looks like they came through last night, so they probably literally went right by us.
They would have
in
seen
the night.
The fire and not have come.
Smelled the smoke.
I mean, I think it was pretty obvious that we were in the place, and they just went right by.
Maybe they didn't know who was in the place. They didn't want to stop.
We need to keep going in the way that we're going, and if we happen upon this man, then that will be well. But we cannot veer too far from our mission.
Right. We have a task. No mysteries. Yes.
Right, so you're going to keep going. We'll have our afternoon checks, if you wouldn't mind taking afternoon supply off, so 4 supply. And let's see, afternoon is gathering and scouting, please. Not good.
No good on the gather. Man,
Oh dear.
Good times don't last.
they don't.
Lolo, you're ahead of the company scouting. You are just, it feels like once again you are being sent off on a different trail than what you'd intended as you keep coming back and forth to where the rest of your company are. And then you stop. You hear something. It's almost like the sound of chimes, wind chimes. You take a look up and you see before you, hanging from the eaves of trees, there are giant, vicious icicles. And you look up just as one of them is shaken loose. Give me a dexterity saving throw.
Ruh-roh. Okay. I'm like, come on. Oh God, dex save isn't one of my things. That's a natty one.
Oh,
That's a natty one. I'm about to get
God.
Christina yanged. Oh my God.
This just giant icicle hurtles down from on high and just explodes against you.
Oh no! Ah!
Oh my God.
What are you doing to me, Rob?
My God. There's 14 points of piercing damage just sails down and just shatters through you.
This Lilo looks up and this icicle, she tries to get out of the way, but gravity is faster than she is. And I feel like she moves her head in time, but the icicle impales down through her shoulder and through part of her arm. Like, and she's and probably falls over.
The rest of you hear this startled cry above. You probably have just seen this in the distance happen to Lolo.
Fred will start rushing and look up and see, and then we'll put out his hands for the other. Stop!
Yeah, as you say stop, you
That
hear
was-
a
That was more than
tingling.
half my HP.
You hear a tingling as the wind blows again. Branches above you seem to be swaying and moving. You see these giant ice spikes just hanging above you.
We must be very careful. We're coming, Lolo. Stay where you are.
I'm gonna grab my rope and throw it towards Lolo to try and pull her back away from the icicles.
I'm gonna take my shield out and put it over my head, and I'm gonna approach like a turtle and try and help once she has the rope to pull close and cover her so nothing falls on her.
Lolo reach out with a good arm. Grabs the rope.
As Fred is doing that, I'd like you all to make a perception check, please.
6.
17.
15.
15 was that for Phlox, and what was that for Lolo?
17.
19. So all of you, apart from Mara, who is oblivious, probably staring horrified at Lolo's injury. The rest of you, unmistakably, whether it's the wind, whether it is the will of the tree itself, you just see a branch moving across as if caught by a breeze, though you don't feel any, and you see it just come into contact with a bunch of the icicles like that. And they're all above you. You have moments. I will need... this is going to be a skill challenge, I think.
Dodge action.
Dodge action, roll initiative.
This is like an AoE.
Roll initiative. Okay. Oh, Fred.
My dice are cursed. I rolled a 9, a 7, and a 9, and a 7.
9797997. Very good. Okay, this is going to be a fairly brief one. We're looking for 5 successes before you get 3 failures.
Brief, he says. 5 successes.
Brief compared to the earlier one, then.
You want to go before or after me, Teddy?
I'll go after.
Okay, so we have Mara, Lolo.
How many failures?
Thank you.
3.
Oh, okay.
Fred and Phlox. So, Mara, you go first. You see this branch swinging across, imminently about to drop a bunch of icicles upon you all.
Oh my God. I have like analysis paralysis right now. Oh, shoot.
No discussion either on this one.
No, what would make sense, and that's just saying that to myself. So he's like the last to really realize the threat. I mean, he sees this icicle hit Lolo, but he doesn't realize the true threat until like he hears that tinkling sound as icicles begin to fall. And shit. I'm going to yell. I'm just trying to see which skill would fit what I want to yell.
Whichever one is your best skill.
It's not going to matter when you roll a 1, right? I'm going to yell. I'm going to use persuasion.
Sure, yeah.
And I'm going to use let me roll first and I'll see what. Okay. So that is a 15.
A success.
Okay. So that now I'll describe it. So he's kind of like, he goes, when he sees them all going forward, he goes, Phloxanna, no, don't go. Let Fred help her. He has a shield. And he'll yell, and just as he yells that, and maybe she stops just for a split second as this icicle goes, sing, hits the ground right where she would have been if she'd have taken another step forward. And then he just goes, and he takes this little half step back when that happens.
You are successful. You take a half step back, just avoiding, like you say, another deafening impact from an icicle. Lolo.
Okay, Lolo hears what Mara shouts out, and she very quickly thinks to herself, right, shield. She's already, what is it? She was holding the rope with her good arm. She quickly wraps it around like Indy on the bridge, like wraps the rope around her arm, and then grabs her shield, which is basically a pot lid, off of her back, and then tries to get under it really small. And I'm going to use stealth to get really small.
Perfect.
Okay. 15
is a success. How do you make yourself, what's it like as you avoid another falling on you?
So she's got the pot lid out, and it's not a very big pot lid, but rather than have her body all spread out, she kind of scrunches into a ball and just keeps the lid up on top of her, and she's just praying that the parts of her that are still exposed don't get hit.
Oh my goodness, amazing. As Lola's doing this, Fred, what are you doing?
He's just gonna rush with his shield over his back, sort of over his head. Just gonna do athletics, I think, and try and get there as quick as I can.
Yep.
So 18 plus 3, 21.
Yep. A success. What's it like?
Yeah, he's got the shield over his head, and he knows like the longer he stays, the more dangerous it'll be. So he's just like sprinting forward, and maybe they're like cling, cling, like falling on the shield, and he sees one like about to drop on Lolo, and he'll like rush forward, and maybe it'll like break against it, and he'll like grab her arm. It's all right, we've got you.
Amazing. That's 3 successes. Perfect. Phlox.
Mara, what did you do? What did you use?
I used persuasion.
Persuasion. Phlox
Persuasion, stealth, and whatever.
Phlox is
Whatever.
trying
Athletics.
to like watch where it's all happening with perception, but I'm not sure if 14 is going to do it.
It's not.
Yeah.
What do you think? I'm thinking like you hear, "Ooh," and a particularly large icicle just slams into the ground directly in front of you, just immediately blocking your path. Dear me, a failure. We're back to the top. Mara.
I think Mara finally gathers his courage and runs forward as these icicles are falling. He really looks up to Fred, so he wants to not be seen as a coward. So he runs up, he's going to run up, and I'm going to use acrobatics to basically, like in any movie when they're in a cavern and it's collapsing and stuff's falling from the ceiling, like he's going to weave through. Yes, that's a 23 on that roll.
Oh, wow.
So I think it's like he gets a couple of close calls. Like there's probably a piece goes through these white cloaks that they were given, rips it, and he just doesn't even realize it. He's got so much adrenaline pumping through his little hobbit body that he rips that little bit of his cloak. And next thing you know, he's right up next to Fred, and he's tucked in really close. He looks up at the shield to make sure he's got a little bit of cover from that. And he reaches down. He goes, "We're going to save you, Lolo." And he reaches down and he's helping Fred kind of pull her.
I love it. So an amalgamation of shields and pot lids. You're making it a kind of testudo defense against the falling ice. Amazing work. That was Mara. Lolo.
Okay. What did you use?
That was
Acrobatics.
Acrobatics. Yeah.
Okay. So Lolo, what is it? Her fellows are there to help her, and so Lolo is basically just going to follow their direction and let them pull her back out into to relative safety. She's not even sure where safety is anymore. She's going to kind of try to peek around while they're doing that and try to find out like how far out this icicle threat goes with perception.
Oh, nice job. Yeah, good one. Yeah.
Do not fuck me.
Oh no.
It's an 11.
Oh. Yeah, you're desperately trying to see and perceive which is the safest way to go, and you look in
Too
the
many
wrong.
tears in her eyes. She
Oh.
can't see.
It's just too stressful.
We're clearly pulling you the wrong direction.
It's heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking. You can't fully see where you're going entirely. Fred.
Okay. Let's see. We got to get out now.
Mhm.
I think he might try acrobatics to.
I already used that.
You did?
Succeeded.
Okay.
Yeah, and I succeeded. Yeah.
Then what else have I got? Oh, perception. You just found perception, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, good idea.
Okay, so try perception again to like look at which the quickest way to get out of the path of the icicles is, and maybe to like look up and block any ones that are going to be falling. Okay, 16 plus 4, dirty 20.
Oh my goodness, that is the final success required. How do you escape as the icicles are falling all around you as you run?
Yeah, he sees like another branch seems to be like waving in the wind, or maybe it's not even by the wind and it's going to collide with this other branch. And so he pulls them sort of in a direction that's longer to get out, but will be out of the path of that. And then sort of, has the shield over the top and it's sort of like breaking them until finally they're out. He'll stay last until they've both made it out of the path, and then he'll sort of retreat with the shield over his head.
And you're free finally of the shattering storm of spikes that fall all around you. How are you feeling, Lolo?
Lolo just kind of looks up at Mara and Fred and goes,
Oh, thank you for getting me out of there. I found icicles.
And they found you. But of course, we would never leave you behind.
Can someone pull the icicle out of my arm, please?
Jesus Christ.
I think Mara goes over. I just did a medicine check. Got a 7.
Oh my God.
He's like, this is not that bad, Lolo. It's not that bad at all. Watch, this probably won't hurt. And he yanks this
Mara.
icicle out that's kind of lodged in, like I like to think between your shoulder and clavicle.
Oh god.
Nope, not bad at all. And he immediately goes white and almost passes out.
Lolo, you take another point of damage as Mara just wrenches this thing out of you.
I'll do medicine if I can to try and start bandaging up.
Yeah, me too. I'll assist you.
Yeah, do it by help. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Roll advantage.
18.
Perfect. Yeah. What's it like when you're like tending to Lolo? Like, how are you able to do this?
Flux is feeling very guilty that she hadn't made it out there to try and help. And so she's very, very meticulous in her bandaging, and is making sure to wrap it carefully and so that the shoulder will still have movement and all those things.
As you're doing this, you hear a voice from behind. This winter has been hard. You turn and about like 20 feet away from you, there stands a very tall figure. A man with a long cloak with his hood up, with dark features that sort of assess you from a distance, but like as he's looking at you, he pulls his hood down to reveal gaunt features, a beard covered in frost, his nose, a portion of it missing, scars across part of his eye. And his eyes are the thing that are widening in surprise and wonder. And he repeats, this winter has been hard. But now I begin to see what it has cost me. My senses must be spent. Perhaps it is my eyes playing some trick. Or do halflings emerge from the trees to play at my wits? And he's staring at you in a way that someone would if they've never seen a hobbit before.
We prefer hobbits or Shire folk. Halflings is what men call us, and we don't like it so much. We're not half a man.
That's right. We're all a hobbit.
The man like stares quietly for a moment, assessing you, and he gives a nod to Lolo. Can you stand?
I haven't tried. I'm not sure.
and Lolo will give it a shot. I feel like she's very wobbly, but she does manage to keep her feet.
The light is waning. Before long, light shall fall once more. If it is your wish, I can lead you to my camp.
Where's your camp?
Not far. He gestures
What's
over
your
his
name?
shoulder. My name is Damrod of Curdling.
I'm Phloxanna. Are you one of those rangers? We're looking for him.
He pauses for a moment when you say that, and he says, looking for them. Why would you be looking for rangers?
We need help.
You didn't answer the question, though.
Phloxanna feels this little tug at the elbow of her tunic from Mara. He keeps making these little like noises. But he doesn't seem to be able to muster any formed words.
We're looking for help. There's trouble in the Shire, and rangers have always helped us.
He kind of looks confused at that.
Now Mara kind of leans in close and whispers into Phloxanna's ear. Curdling hasn't been around for a long time.
Phloxanna opens her eyes a little wider. Goes, yeah, with the winter, the ice and the wolves, and she'll like grab Fred and like pass that along.
Fear not, I am not some white walking amongst the living. I breathe. Yes, Cardland has not existed for some time, but those are the wilds that I range. At least I did.
Well, a place never really goes anywhere, I suppose. If there were no hobbits in the Shire, it would still be the Shire.
That's true. I guess just more different people live there, right?
But are you a ranger? You still kind of keep going around that one.
I am.
Well, then we need your help.
Do you want to do an insight check?
Yes.
Ooh. All of us?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 13.
Ah, fuck, a natural one. Whatever he's putting down, I am picking it up. I'm like, yeah.
Running with it.
15 is what I have.
Whatever the street we go to.
I
his
also
camp,
got a nat
sure.
one.
Oh, wow.
I got
you
a
guys are useless. You're all just like, wow, he's so cool.
Oh, look how tall he is, you guys.
I got a 15 as well.
Okay, great. So 2 1s and 2 15s. Great.
I mean, you've never seen. I mean, have any of you seen a man like a big folk before?
Nope.
It's
I
very
don't
rare.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe an elf every once in a while, but
It was clear he was kind of put back by you saying, "Oh, the Shire is protected by rangers." He's kind of like, which is, maybe you heard incorrectly.
Yeah, maybe they don't know.
Yeah,
but they're
maybe
protecting it.
Well, that's
Yeah.
very true.
Yeah.
And he will then say, "What is also true is that the night is falling, and your friend here looks like she could do with rest."
That's what we're hoping to get to Bree. See? Is your camp in that direction?
It is.
Oh,
All right. Well, I have a map, so if you try and lead us astray, I'll know.
It's okay, Fred.
I'd
This
very
isn't a
much
ranger.
like to sleep and bleed someplace warm.
I think under his breath, Mara kind of says, "It wasn't even that deep. Lolo's always so melodramatic."
Now, listen, Ranger, whatever your name might be.
Damrod.
Damrod, that's right. I am not afraid, if it comes to it, to stand up for my friends. And if you cause us any trouble, then just watch it.
I shall remember it, Master Hobbit.
That's right.
He
Just straighten
turns.
his clothes.
He turns. Maybe you detect a curl at the corner of his mouth. Maybe it's just the way that his face looks. He looks pretty haggard. But he says, "Stay close." And he sets off at quite a pace, but not too much of a pace that you'll lose him. The way is fairly long, but after a while, when it seems like you won't be able to see anymore, for the light is vanishing, you arrive at a camp. While he walks, you can also do a perception check for me as well.
15.
24.
24. So anything above an 18, you would see that one, he is walking with a limp that he's doing his best to hide. You'd also notice that when his arm brushes at his cloak, every now and then it reveals a scabbard at his side. The scabbard that would belong to a sword probably the size of you, but it is empty. He leads you to another clearing, and this clearing is marked with what looks like ash that has been spread across the snow into a circle. You see charcoal of burned wood. You see a rudimentary camp that he is situated in this clearing. There is sort of like a tarpaulin, sort of like held up with two great sticks that have been carved, and it backs into a sort of like a rocky crag of towering stones in the midst of this burned circle. He says, "You may rest here, and I shall answer your questions if you answer mine. Please." And he gestures. He sort of like crouches down next to a circle of stones and begins preparing a fire for you to gather around.
Have you enough to eat? You look hungry.
Yeah, you actually look, and his near the camp, you see what looked like it's like a rudimentary spit, and on it looks to be like a pitiful morsel, maybe like a water rat or something that he's like got ready. He says, "It has been difficult to find food in these lands."
Phloxanna kind of looks him up and down, and he probably looks even more gaunt because he's so tall. She goes, "You look skinny."
He looks down at you and doesn't say anything.
Well, I had to tighten my belt for the first time in years now with the winter, so.
Oh yeah, my old gaffer had to put a new hole in his.
That's right. Well, and he'll ruffle around in his pack and pull out like a stick of butter and like some rashers and some eggs and like use extra supply so that we can give him like a proper meal.
Wow, that is very generous. Very generous. And he it's a sort of a strange look comes across his face. And he says, "Well, I shall begin then. As I told you, I am Damrod of Curdling. I always say of Curdling because it reminds me where I'm from. My home are lands, or the lands east of this forest. I regret that not that long ago I was separated from my kin. My brothers rarely enter these woods. Generations ago, the forests of Middle-earth were one. Perhaps you do not know this. My ancestors, the Dunedain, they hewed the forests apart. Numenorians, they were known as then. Now the forests stand like islands, separate from each other. And the trees do not forget. They have voices, you know.
The trees in this forest seem angry.
They sure have hands.
That's how Lolo got injured.
I heard the commotion. And it does not surprise me that they meant to harm you. They have tried to harm me as well. And succeeded in part. And he gestures to like the scratch across his face and part of his nose missing. From where do you hail? You say the Shire. You say that my brothers protect you.
Yeah, that's right.
Where are these lands? And he's very direct then, very pointed, like, where are these lands?
To the west.
Not that far. That's if you walk all over the place. How come you don't know?
I know the borders to the west. I did not know that there was... He nearly says halfling again, and then he says hobbits that dwell there.
How'd you not know?
It's the only place we do dwell.
Oh, the farthings, sir. Each of the farthings.
You know, South Farthing, Long Bottom Leaf.
He frowns.
Maybe he doesn't smoke.
My brothers, I have bled to defend these borders. An old king's oath says that those borders are to remain guarded, though we do not wander past them. Curious.
That's right. Some kind of promise or something.
Can I make a quick lore check, Rob?
Yeah.
Perfect. Ooh, boom. I got an 18 on the die, so I'm going to just say something. I think Mara speaks up and he goes, I think it was King Argaleb the second, I think, if my memory serves from what my old gaffer told me. He kind of gave us hobbits these lands back, well, a long time ago. And those are the borders you were protecting.
He sort of frowns for a moment, and then sort of like a dawning light comes into his eyes, and he says, yes. Yes, I remember now. Most hobbits know this sort of what you speak of as there is a generic king somewhere that gave the hobbits their thainship, and you know it's just known as the king. Only a few hobbits would know that, and it's really cool that you bring that up. And yeah, you do notice that there's sort of like this dawning recognition, as if like this was knowledge he might have once known. And remembers for a moment, and then a dark kind of look crosses his face again. I bled to protect those lands.
We're very grateful for it.
You
How
say
many
you...
rashers?
Yeah, he looks at what you've sort of put in front of him and says, "This will suffice. I thank you."
You haven't even got any sausages yet.
Forgive me, but I must ask. You say you seek rangers. I am. I'm loath to tell you this, but I fear that your search may be in vain.
What do you mean?
There is conflict. Many battles rage. Lands east of here are the site of. Again, he gets that sort of faraway look. Is where they are. Dark forces pressing from the north. Always pressing.
We happen to have this little bit of a discussion amongst our group, and maybe you could settle it for us. It would seem some of us think that wolves can talk, where most of us would know that that's just ludicrous.
Maradoc, I'm going to take one of Fred's pans and pop the side of your head with it.
Just let the man answer. So is it true? And he kind of like saddles away a little bit away.
Why would
from
we have
Fox.
lied about it?
Well, I'm not saying you lied, Fred. I'm just saying that sometimes the wind and the mind plays tricks on us. And
The wind doesn't say it's a white wolf and have a name. The wind goes, woo!
that's okay. Arguably, that's fairly true. What do you think, Damrod? You seem to be world wise. Have you ever heard of a wolf talking?
Yes. I have heard of
In the
it.
same day, Maradoc's face goes snow white.
What do you speak of are the winter wolves, the wargs?
Scoth, it said his name was.
Yes. There were many of my brothers with me before. And now there are just me. Now there is just me. Insight check.
Ooh.
Come on, Fred. Yes. Oh, the dice. I'm going to have to put the Google roller on my screen because it's unbelievable. The little
That's
thing
all
that
right, don't worry. Don't worry.
Oh
I've
my
rolled
God.
a natural 1 on my Google roller, and this one's a 10, so I get 14 total.
21. for Fred.
21.
Nice.
15 for me.
Yeah,
Lolo has some sort of like wounded clarity. She's like, I can see everything.
we've got above 20.
Yeah, me and Lolo, I think.
You both note that he is definitely sort of sidestepping information, like he is like taking pauses and carefully selecting his words. He says, there was a battle not far from here. As a
Battle?
matter of... Yes.
Against who?
Ever have we faced the dark forces, the orcs, the wargs pressing from the north?
Listen, Mister, the Shire can't fight. We don't have any warriors at all.
All while we contest this winter, he continues like talking over you, like he or like he's sort of like in another space almost. And he
It's a
says,
monologue, Fred. It's a monologue.
And all the while you sit there and do nothing. He finishes looking at you again.
Do nothing. We didn't know anything about this. What goes on beyond our borders is none of our business.
Lolo just kind of squints for a second.
Dodgy. Seems dodgy.
And then just kind of like closes her eyes again.
I was always told, and we were all told, if you keep your nose out of trouble, no trouble will find you. And that's what we do.
Then I
Yeah,
would
everyone knows.
advise that you remain true to that rule, Master Hobbit.
Everyone
It
knows
would-
that the hobbits
Sorry.
don't leave the Shire. But now the wolves are here, so that's why we came to find you.
It will do you no good to look for the Rangers. I would urge you to return home while there's still strength in your limbs.
No, we can't return home without help.
If I were
What
to
a-
help you, would you return home? If I were to lead you there?
Well, would you be able to stop all the wolves coming in?
No.
Well, then I'm afraid not, because it's not just us that need help. It's the whole Shire. Hundreds of hobbits, thousands.
Is it all of the rangers that are gone, or like just the ones you knew? Because I don't know all of the hobbits in the Shire, but I know a lot.
The brothers in my ranging party, they are gone. There are other rangers abroad. But it would be folly for you to try and reach them.
What happened to your brothers? Was it the war?
Yes. They all died. We were retreating to these woods, these accursed woods. That seems true.
Okay, the yes was a bit off-putting. He's like, yes.
Yeah. No, that does seem true. But
Okay.
he retreating is a word that he struggles with that insight check.
Well, I appreciate your offer of help, but we're going to need more than just you. So we're going to go to Bree and see if there's anyone there who can help.
He looks at each of you like with cold eyes, and he simply says, "It is folly for you. You will never make it." And he stands and he says, "Feel free to make plans and move away as you wish, but I forbid you to seek them."
Well, bully for you, you wet blanket. We don't have to listen to you.
He looks at you, Phlox, for a moment and shakes his head, and he turns to walk away, and he's taking his gloves off. And as he does, you see blackened fingers upon his hand, dead from frostbite.
Fred will like flip some more rashes, but he'll like loosen the weapon in its scabbard. He's starting to feel uncomfortable and nervous around this man, and starting to feel like there's something here that he doesn't understand. Now, say a lot of things for hobbits. You can say we're small and we might not be as strong as others, but we have hope. We won't give up. And you can forbid us all you like, but we're going to find others, maybe ones who are more helpful and more hopeful than you.
I think very emphatically, Mara's nodding his head, that blue feather kind of waving back and forth on his newly acquired hat.
We're not known as reliable for nothing. We came out for help, and we're not going back till we get some.
One thing we hobbits are good at doing, and that's sticking together and helping one another out.
That's right.
Maybe that's why your brothers aren't with you right now, because maybe you guys weren't helping each other out enough. There's like an elbow in the ribs, maybe.
Oh, 911, I'd like to report a murder.
You see with that, his
My friend didn't mean any harm. He's still young and learning, and Fred is like trying to make excuses.
His entire demeanor changes, and he just fixes you with a look. And Phlox, you have a flash to what you dreamed of previously, those blackened dead hands reaching for your throat. And you see that his fingers struggle to clench into fists as your words affect him, and the facade drops. It was not my wish to harm you. But if you seek the Rangers of the North, You seek those who are hunting me. I abandoned their senseless and futile war, and now they seek to kill me for it. Against those monsters there can be no victory. And now I find we suffer and we bleed for small creatures content to sit and hide by their hearths, while the darkness of the world closes in around us. I tried to turn you away, and you just wouldn't listen. There is a mad gleam like falling across his face. And
You cow pile, does this look like we're sitting at home by a hearth?
He takes like a step forward and stops. And then reaches to his belt and draws a dagger. Roll initiative.
Oh, baby. Fucking terrible initiative again. Lloyd's Google roller's blessed, and mine's cursed.
Yeah, leave it to us to find like the rogue ranger. Awesome.
Yeah. The faithless ranger.
That's the deserter, it seems.
One might say he's pragmatic.
Sounds like Mara hit
Because
the
and
nail on the head,
accursed.
though. Needed to
How
think
am I
again.
first?
Even a broken-
I'm
even a-
wounded.
All right. Well, forget it. You're fine now. This is D&D.
Okay, you're wrong. Did you
Well, I
perhaps
mean,
roll a hit dice while you were eating?
to be maybe Rob.
No, I don't think
No.
that's.
I don't think it was long enough, was it?
true. No, it's short
No,
rest.
no.
Short
Okay.
rest. So, well, I don't know. I didn't actually establish what our rest rules was. I was basically going against the same that we've done before in other
It's
Middle Earth
okay.
games. But
It's okay. It's okay. It's cool.
Okay.
It's cool.
no worries.
So, Lolo was kind of already sus of this guy anyways because of the insight.
Yeah, and you will be the first to act first in your party, but not before Damrod. That whole facade drops. You note that his wish to hide that limp completely evaporates, and he sort of just lurches towards. He's just going to go straight towards you, Lolo. He knows you're injured. He knows he can probably finish you quickest. He's going to make an athletics check, and he'll be doing it at advantage against you because of his size.
Oh Lord.
Oh, so an opposed athletics, please, Lolo.
Okay.
As he sort of lurches towards you, but we'll see.
Wow. 17.
No, basically he basically seizes you and hurls you to the floor, and he then basically he swipes up what looks to be something that he's been using as a staff or a walking stick to help him, and it's just this knobbled, gnarly looking club because he obviously lost his sword, and he's just going to bring it down hard upon you on the ground. What's your armor class?
Oh my god, I don't have my shield. It's a 15.
Oh my god, how are you able to avoid being smashed in the skull by this thing?
Not entirely sure. I feel like he's got Lolo and she's pinned down, and he brings up the thing and he goes to bring it down, and I just feel like it's just a perfectly timed head swivel, and the staff goes crashing down on the side right where her head used to be, and she says, "Oh, what are you doing?"
His club smashes into the snow where your head was, and like it flicks it into the fire, and it sends like a billow of smoke across where all of you are sort of like confronting each other. Mara, it's your turn.
Oh, it's Lolo's turn. She's before
Oh,
me.
sorry. Lolo, your turn. That was you just dodging. It is your turn, Lolo. Sorry.
Okay.
Take the dodge, Jackson. Take the dodge, Jackson.
he's what is it? Is he's holding me down?
Yeah, he's
So
basically
I
just
am-
pushed you down
I
and
am-
then tried to smack you. He's not holding you, he's just pushed you to the floor and yeah.
Okay. So he's literally right above me. I can't
Mhm.
see how this could possibly go wrong. um yeah, no, I've got to go with that. I am taking the dodge action.
Thanks, Dave.
Okay.
Big dodge. What does that give me?
Big old dodge. That's a good question actually. So the dodge action.
Any attack against you is going to be at disadvantage.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Good to know. So you take the dodge action. Is there anything else you want to do?
Bonus action cry.
Bonus action cry. Cool.
That's a free action, baby. You go for it.
And then we move to Mara.
First thing Mara's gonna do is he whips out that shiny new dagger, aka long short sword for him, or sword for him, and he goes, "Oh, you made a mistake, Longshanks. You're messing with hobbits of the Shire, and we're gonna show him, aren't we, Fred?" And as he runs forward, he's gonna say, "You know, what do I want to say? Because I'm going to give you a warden's gift, Fred, which is a D6 that you can add to one of your rolls, not damage." And he goes, "We're going to show what happens when you mess with hobbits from all four farthings." And he says, "Aren't we, Fred?" And as he says that, that's going to be your warden's gift. And then he runs. And he's going to dip between this guy's fingers, because one of the things that hobbits can do is we can pass through another person's area as long as they're a size bigger than us. And as he does so, he's just going to kind of cut at this guy's leg, which you said we can see that he limps now.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
You see it,
that'll be the leg I try to shoot at.
Oh,
this
nice.
Sword. And I think Fred might have a little bit of worry because as he sees brave little Maradoc holding this sword, it does not look like he's ever held a sword before. But even he can surprise himself as I rolled a 16 on the die.
Oh,
so that's
wow.
a 22.
That hits.
So he just kind of what he doesn't see is Mara close his eyes as he runs past and just does one of these things with the sword. And he feels some resistance of the blade as he gets to the other side of this guy. And that's going to be 8 points of damage as he jabs or cuts this guy across his thigh.
And that was the
magic
blade of Westerness.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as you draw it, like there's like a particularly as it's getting dark now, like there's a flash of red as you draw it forth and pass it into this guy's into his lower thigh, and he gives like a grunt of pain as the blade strikes him. Fred.
Fred's gonna rush forward and shout, "For the Shire!" I am confused. Can I also step into this person's square?
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah,
I think yes, I can.
Yeah, you can move through a space of any creature that is at least one size larger than you.
So I have a virtue called Small Folk where I can be in his square and stay in it and have advantage on attacks, and he has to move before he can attack anyone else. So I'll do that. I'll rush in with the shield raised high, and then I'll step like between his legs and be like dancing back and forth into there. And he's like, but I'm so little he can't really get me. And then I'll make my attack. And so when I am in this person's space, I attack with advantage.
Okay.
Until he steps back to attack me, which provokes opportunity attacks.
Okay.
So let's go. And I have a D6 from it's a crit. So I don't need the D6. So that is 2d8s with the fancy spear.
That's right, and don't forget that your Numenorian Westerness weapons crit on 19. So if you roll 19 as well, that's also a crit. But yes,
so that is 8 and 4 is 12 damage.
Oh my goodness!
And I'm going to action surge and attack him again.
Whoa.
while I'm in here.
Yeah, might as well.
That one's a 16 on the die plus 6 because of the +1. So that'll be a 22.
Yeah,
hit.
that's an easy hit again.
Nice. This one for 7 and 4, so 11 damage.
11 points of damage. Perfect.
Oh my god, Fred, you monster.
What is it like as you just charge like heroic to this monstrous man?
I think Fred didn't know he had it in him, and finds himself like filled with bravery that he didn't expect when he sees his friends being threatened like this. It happened with the wolf too. He was willing to sacrifice his life. In the moment, afterwards he regrets it massively, but in the moment he feels the bravery and feels like he could do anything. He rushes forward, and as like, you know, Mara is like slashing at one side and the guy's like trying to stumble around, like Fred is able to just like get some stabs in there, and he's able to throw himself into the danger sort of more than he expected.
And as you're charging forth, taking the fight to this ranger or former deserter ranger, Phlox, you've seen these hands try to throttle you in your dreams. What do you do?
Phloxanna hurls herself after Fred and Mara, intent on saving Lolo from this murderous, traitorous, tall folk. And this thing crits on a 19 to 20, and so I also got a crit to come in.
Oh
and
my
because
God.
I have allies, I get sneak attack. So Lolo comes in with this little Nimir shiny blade for 17 damage against him.
God, that's with the sneak as well?
Uh-huh.
Oh my goodness. Where do you what's it like? Where do you hit him? Where are you getting him?
I think she's coming up behind him. He's still facing Lolo, and honestly, depending on her height and the angle, it might be straight up his butt. Like,
Bam.
You're gonna feel that.
Like he as the pain racks at him as he staggers back. Now you say that he will he only will provoke an attack of opportunity if he leaves the threat range, correct?
So he has to, if he wants to attack me, has to step back because he can't reach me because I'm under him.
Mm-hmm.
And when he does that, it will provoke an opportunity attack from me.
Even though he's just stepping to next to you?
Yes,
that still
it specifically says. Yeah.
Perfect. No, just check. I just wanted to check. That's all.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
That's
it's a weird ability, so that's why I was a little
fine.
confused about if I can step in or not, but I think
you're going to need it.
It's your virtue, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So he will be stepping out from over Mara, who also did it, and Fred. So you both get opportunity attacks.
I don't have that virtue, so I actually passed all the way through. So I'm on the other side of
yeah,
him.
so mine lets me stay in his space, which usually you can't do.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
In that case, then Fred, you get your opportunity attack now.
All right, let's fucking go.
It's another crit. What? Do not roll like that on Monday nights. That's all I'm saying.
Oh my God.
Ah! Oh my God. Fred.
Roll it up.
That is 11 plus 4, 15 damage.
Oh,
holy shit.
God. Yeah, he's just got this wild look in his eye, and it's like he tries to step like away from you. What is it like when you crit him again?
Yeah, he tries to step out of the way, and maybe Fred brings the butt of his shield down on his toe, so he can't move for a second, and then he like cuts the back of his leg.
Oh my God.
He says, "Don't come near my friends."
Like he staggers back, and as you say, like, "Don't go near my friends," he'll simply say, "As you wish," and he will just do a full round of attacks upon you, Fred.
Oh no!
What is your armor class?
It is 18 with my shield.
That is a hit for his first attack. There's a hit for his second attack.
Oh boy!
So that's the wrong dice. Bear with. Okay. For both attacks, that is 18 points of bludgeoning damage. He brings up the club and he just smacks you once and twice across, first across the shoulder and then hard in the chest. And he's just bearing down on you as if he's preparing to strike you again. And he'll use his movement to stagger away.
Cool.
Away
You
from
can
you.
next opportunity attack from me
From
and
us.
Mara now.
And
Yes.
Lolo.
Yep.
Me too?
Yep.
Does a 19 hit?
A 19 does hit, yes.
That is another 8.
16?
I'm crushing the damage.
16 is not a hit. Unfortunately.
Yeah, you know.
And Phlox, you had an attack opportunity as well. What did you get?
13.
13. So like Mara, you're able to swipe at him as he sort of like staggers away, like blood pouring from like his legs where he's just been savaged by all of you. A furious look in his eyes, spitting as he goes. That's his turn. Lolo.
Lolo's gonna use half of her movement to stand up. Like you do.
Mhm.
And she's still got her little dagger in her hand. She's got to throw it at him.
Nice.
He's far enough away that she can pull that off.
Okay.
So she's gonna throw dagger. Please roll better. Dirty 20.
Dirty 20 is a hit.
Oh yeah, here comes some hot dagger action, y'all. Hold on. So that's 6 damage. Dagger.
Oh my
And then
goodness.
she's going to use whatever the hell movement she has left to move away.
So you throw this
I think
dagger.
that's like 10 more feet or something. So,
He's moving away. This dagger follows him, just slams into his side, and he gives like a howl as he staggers back. Anything else? You threw a dagger. You move Lolo. Anything else? I think that's you, right, Mara?
This is what I would like to do, and feel free to say no.
Mhm.
So I would like to use the aid action, and here's how I'm going to describe it. So just like really just jived up from what's happening right now. He's got the adrenaline pumping through him, and he's like that moment like when Sam like is with the pan, bing bing with orcs. He's like, I can do this. And then he's just more infuriated when he sees Fred get smacked a couple times. Like, you don't hit Fred, and he runs off after this guy. And he's got this ragged cloak, and he just grabs onto it, and he just tugs up at it, and he's trying to like stick this knife into this cloak, and he says, "You're not getting away from us that easy." And so I want to do that as an aid action, distract this guy as Fred, to give Fred advantage on his attack.
That's amazing.
If you allow it.
Yeah, I absolutely allow that. Yeah, so you're just basically doing all you can to distract him to let Fred get past his defenses. There's nothing else you want to do with your turn, Mara?
Nope. I with the way Lloyd has been rolling, I feel like I should have given my bonus die to somebody else.
Give me
But
a perception check, Mara. Sorry, I've just thought of something. Give me a perception check.
No, Mara has tunnel vision right now as I get an 8.
Okay, no worries. You would have noticed that because you're the one that charged after him. No problem at all. That's Mara's turn then. Fred.
Real quick, as I will give another Warden's gift die to Phlox. What do I want to say? We got this, Phlox. Look at this big scaredy pants. He just yells it out. I think some of his immaturity coming out.
All right. Fred's going to rush after him and see that he's being distracted, and is going to try and take out one of his knees, I think, so he can't run away. Let's see. It's another crit, Rob. This is unbelievable to me.
Roll it up.
Roll it up. I rolled it all together. 6 and 2. So 8 and 4 is 12.
Oh my god. Oh my
This
god.
is staggering.
And
Tell me
12.
he's still alive.
Fred is the king of all hobbits. Like,
Yeah.
Wait, so what was the total of that? Sorry,
12.
That was 12. Okay.
yeah.
Is he still up?
I'm using my calculator. Yes, he
Tell
is
me
still
he's
up.
still up because
He is
I'm
still
next
up.
and I also rolled a crit.
Oh my god. I'm going to use my bonus action to second wind just in case this doesn't do what we need it to. So I'll regain 1d10, 6, and 1d10 plus my level, so 2. So I'll gain 8 hit points back. Okay. So that's action, bonus action. Okay, that's me done.
What is it like as you slam your attack into him first, and then we will deal with Lolo's, because I need to know where you're hitting him and stuff. Like,
Yeah, so Mara is like, I guess, on his back and like pulling at his cloak and distracting me. He's like, and as he's doing that, like Fred rushes up and with the spear, we'll just like jam it into the back of his leg, behind his knee or something. It's like weirdly violent for hobbits, I think.
Oh,
You
it
know,
is.
but
It's
this guy was
gone.
trying to kill us, you know. So-
Oh, absolutely. And then as you jam that into his knee and basically like rip out any ligaments back there at all, Lolo, you land your attack.
Not me.
Oh, sorry, Phlox, you land your attack. Apologies.
Yeah, it's okay.
So here comes Phlox for the second time, hurtling after Fred, following him. And again, this shining Numenorian type blade. She's gonna come around closer to the front this time, because Mara's on his back. She doesn't want to hit Mara. And she's thrusting upwards because that seems to be where all the squishy bits are. So probably somewhere in the midsection based on Hobbit height. That is 20 damage all up.
Oh my god. He goes to a knee when Fred basically stabs him. Where do you get him? What is it like?
She's not honestly paying that much attention. Mara has never, or Phlox has never fought a person before. This is unreal, unbelievable, and so she's just, she doesn't have her eyes closed like Mara did, but she is squinting. So it's probably somewhere in the general torso area, but she's honestly not really watching it. She's just reacting. It's all adrenaline.
Your blade sinks into him, and that's the blow that it took. He is frozen there on his knees, his eyes locked onto yours, Phlox, as your blade sinks deep into him, killing him. However, he has endurance of the Dunedain, which means he may act as normal for a round once he drops past 0 HP.
Cool, because I have a
with-
bonus action attack.
Okay, well, I mean, by all means.
Bring it on, buddy. Shoot, is 17 gonna hit?
17
You have
hits.
you have a D6 too, anyways, that you could have used.
17 hits, but yeah.
Okay. So that's just a dagger, so it's just a D4.
Okay.
But it is 4 more damage.
Yeah, you just jam that into him as he gives this just violent surge of energy, and he's just going to swing his club. First of all, he's going to swing his club hard at.
I have protection fighting style, so I'm going to interpose whoever
He's
it's
swinging it. He's swinging it at you.
Okay, then I can't.
What was your AC? Sorry.
18.
Okay, that's a 19. Sorry, so that is a hit. That is 9 points of bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
So he slams into you, and then I need an opposed athletics from you, Phlox, as he is going to throw his full weight against you to grab you.
Oh god, athletics is not
Also
my
with
strong suit.
advantage.
It's the nightmare.
It's the nightmare.
You can add the D6 to your athletics roll too.
Okay, I
if
will
you
add
want.
the D6.
Okay.
That is a 16.
It is not enough. He hurls himself onto you, and the last thing that he sees as he ends his turn is you staring at him, his blackened hands reaching around your throat as if to strangle you to death, and then dies.
Get him off!
Yeah, Fred will like use his shield to like push him, maybe with Mara's help, like off, roll him off. You're muted.
You're
Lionel.
muted.
Sorry. You said he had a hooded cloak, so I think Mara would kind of like take the tip of his sword and be like, you pull that up over the guy's head so he can't see his face.
Is everyone okay?
What? What did we just do?
Flux throws
What did we
up.
just do?
Flux is like puking in the corner now.
like the sword now, like coming off the adrenaline high. It's just like it tips out of his hand. Ching! It sticks into the snow.
We killed a man in his own camp. Isn't that illegal?
No. It's
We had to defend ourselves. He tried to harm us.
I had a nightmare about him. It was gonna strangle me in my nightmare.
I think there's some sympathy dry heaves from Mara. He's like,
Fred has this weird reaction because he's like, it's done now. And then he like smells and he's like, the rashers. And he rushes back and they're like burned.
oh no. Yes. I'll still eat him.
One of those weird like post like violence things where he's like, oh yeah, I forgot about the rashers. And then he like gets over there and he realizes what the fuck just happened. He's like, and then starts hyperventilating or something.
Yeah, it's called shock.
Yeah.
I feel like 4 hobbits were all in shock. We're such a disaster.
Wait, where's Lolo? I think Mara just realizes Lolo's nowhere to be seen. And
She's standing, but she's just kind of standing like slumped, like
Can somebody pry my knife out of him, please? I'd like it back.
We have to. And then as Fred, like, he sat down to check the rashes and now it really hurts to get back up. He's in bad shape. He's like well below half. And he'll like stand up and limp over and pull all the various weapons out of him. Because I think he's got like several knives stuck in him. We need to rest.
It is at that moment that you hear a long, ear-splitting howl.
Damn. Quickly, pack everything.
how far did we make it from the place where we camped last night?
I don't think we have any idea where we are, right? Because we're following this guy.
Ah, crap.
We're boned.
A third of the day you spent following him back here, but you noted that you were still following the river, so you don't think you've been led too far astray, but those howls sounded incredibly close.
We have to go now. Grab everything you can. And so Fred will toss snow on the pan and on the fire, and we'll begin grabbing everything and packing it away. He'll then look through this guy's stuff, whatever is in the camp. He'll reef through his tent quickly, like a hobbit at like a garden sale, just rushing like everything that he can find that's shiny or valuable or edible, he'll take. And he'll take his cloak as well. He'll cut it at the neck and take the cloak.
Funny you say about shiny things. You know that he does have a number of shiny things, some with blood on them, rings.
Oh my
necklaces.
gosh.
Yeah.
Fred thinks we'll give these to the rangers when we find them. But he won't spend more than like 30 seconds looking.
Sure.
It's literally just like, fuck, grab it, everything. Like, and then we're running. Fast pace immediately.
I think just as we're leaving the camp, Mara remembers, oh, my sword. And he runs back over where it's fallen nose down into the snow, grabs it, and runs after the others.
As you run back, it's almost like as if you see something moving in the trees just beyond the clearing as you start running back. Please can we have your journey rolls, please? Because we are going to be doing extra journey rolls, we're going to be acting as if this is the start of a new one, even though we're all still on the same night. So it will be, let me see, navigation, and scouting. You can try gathering if you want.
Just skip gathering. That's just, oh, you got it. Okay, never mind. We just got to run. I'll use my +2 to turn that to a 19.
I'm gonna say that my gather was any supplies that he had.
Yeah.
So I gained 2
Oh,
supplies.
good idea.
Him.
Yeah, great idea. That's a fantastic idea. Yeah. He has some rations that he hadn't brought forth and things like that. So yeah, you're able to help yourself to that. Scouting is a dirty 20. Perfect. And what was your navigation? Sorry, Lloyd.
Ends up as a 19.
Ends up as a 19 because you do the thing. Perfect. Yeah, you're rushing along the riverbank at this point. And what would you see with that scout check?
Rangers, good rangers.
No.
Elrond and his mates.
Right.
Gandalf.
The Galadrim and no.
I would just settle for Elrond's 2 sons. That would be perfectly fine.
Arwen.
Lolo, you realize that the way that you're pressing through the woods, you know that the wolves are doing a similar thing to what they've done before. You know that some of them are running ahead of you. You know, some of them are moving in at the sides again. Others are hanging back. They're all around you. You are going to end up running into them at some point unless you make a decision about what you're going to do. You need to make a plan.
We need
Oh my god.
How far are we
We
from
set a fire.
Bree? Too far to run. Right?
We are.
Yeah.
We need to set a fire. We need to set a fire. We need to set a fire.
Sorry,
Yes.
Lloyd, I should say with that navigation check, because it was a success, you know that you are not far from the edge of the woods that you're aiming for. I should have said that
Okay.
before.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That won't get us to safety. Like they're not going to just stop chasing us when we leave the woods, I don't think. So then, he'll hear Phlox saying about the fire, and we'll nod to that. What were you going to say, Lolo?
Lolo's gonna say, I have enough torches for all of us, but the torches make the trees angry.
Maybe we can use that to our advantage if the trees are angry.
Yeah, they're not going to care about whether it's us or the wargs.
Yes. Can we find a rock to stand on? Wait, they can't climb.
In the trees? Get in the trees?
Wolves can't climb.
What
But
does
they can
climbing them
jump.
make the trees angry?
Maybe, but it won't. They won't tear us apart the way the wolves will.
We should try to climb then.
But then what if they just
Trees.
stay?
Well,
There's another ear-splitting howl. Oh!
Oh, hey, trees.
Wolves
Please
hit
don't
fire,
be
and the trees hit
mad.
fire, and then everybody will be mad, and maybe they'll kill each other. That's the best plan I got.
yeah. I think you hear that I think Mara's pulled out that mahogany tinderbox, and he's pulled out the flint and steel, and he's already crossed one of the torches of Lolo's, and 14 on my survival. Actually, 16 because I can use that double proficiency to light up
to light a
four
torch.
Well, I like to light 4 torches very quickly.
Sure. Yep, you're able to do that. You're able to light up the torches.
Let's get as close to the river as we can.
My specialty is fire making.
Ooh.
And so I can apparently make camp anywhere. So I think, I think that's right. If we go near the water and we put the fire between, so fire, then us, then water, like our backs to the water, maybe that's...
Isn't it ice?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's ice.
Yeah, but I still don't want to step on it, right? They're going to be too heavy. Potentially.
Yeah, I literally weigh like 60 pounds with all my gear.
Will be like uphill from them if they're coming from the water,
Mm-hmm.
right?
We can pick a spot on the bank where it's like a cliff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
like an
crossed off.
escarpment or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the word.
Yeah.
Look at you with your big fancy
Mhm.
geology words.
I get one a night.
So
Okay.
am I getting this right then that you want to stand with your backs to an escarpment that falls into the water,
Yeah, and then light fires in front of us.
like fires in front of you?
So there should
Okay.
it should be
Technically,
like
they'd be behind us, right? Because we've got our backs. Like
Sh-
river, escarpment, us, fire.
Shouldn't we keep moving though? Because
Yeah.
they're going to be patient and they're going to outlast our torches in this fire. I feels like we should just keep moving as quickly as you can and use the torches to hold them off because they don't seem to like fire. Keep running along the river. We're almost. Well, this is what Mara's going to suggest. Now, guys, I'm just suggesting this in character. Maybe if we go, and he kind of gulps big. Maybe if we go into the Barrow Downs, maybe they won't follow us there. They say spirits of dead kings of Curdling still roam those lands. Maybe that will keep those wolves at bay.
But then what about the dead?
I thought the forest was supposed to keep the wolves at bay. I don't think anything will keep them out.
There's probably another howl. Well, we have to
Wow.
decide something.
How many did we see when we were running? It was like more than 10, right? When we ran from them last time. Yeah, so we can't fight them. So we have to run, I think.
It's either run or hold with the fire. It seems like
Yeah.
those are your choices.
But I think it's a good point that like fire
Yeah,
will run
Lionel's
out.
right.
So we have to run, I think.
Yeah, what else are we gonna do?
If we were great climbers, we could just climb from tree to tree, but I don't know if that's
We're gonna have
reliable.
to go inside a barrow and shut a door.
No, thanks. I'll
I'd
get eaten
rather
by
I'd rather get eaten by a
Yeah.
ward first.
Okay, well, I guess we have to keep running. Maybe
Cool.
run.
We got like 20 seconds before they catch us, right?
Yeah, maybe.
It's an imminent factor. to
Okay,
be
no,
honest.
let's just light the fires. If they're this close, let's just light the fires.
Like I say, you
Yeah.
saw the shapes moving around you. You know they're
Yeah.
close. You know they're ahead of you, behind you, to the sides.
Maybe
Somewhere.
the fire will make the trees mad and the trees will kill the wolves.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
That could happen.
Light the fires, and then we can start throwing brands at the trees. The trees shouldn't necessarily be over the river, and maybe we'll be able to avoid their wrath.
Right. So yeah, you begin massing as much foraged wood as you can before you, and with the torches that Mara has lit, you're able to set a blaze before you. And as you do so, obviously they throw out great long shadows. Between each tree, there is just reaching darkness all around you. And in that darkness, you see those whirling grey shapes, and then you see their eyes. You are standing with your backs to the river at this point. Is there anything that you wish to say or anything that you wish to tell each other before the wolves' imminent arrival?
Yes. As we're kind of standing there, we've lit this fire, and Mara's standing there, torch in one hand, sword in another. And he's just gonna say, licks his lips nervously, and he goes, "Listen, you're the best friends I've ever had, and I just want you guys to know that, because I don't know if we're gonna make it. And Master Fred, I was gonna ask, but I was afraid to, and I guess I got nothing to lose now. Listen, Master Cotton was nice enough and all, but the more I think about it, he really wasn't very nice to me. And if by chance we happen to survive this night, I was kind of hoping that I could go to the North Farthing with you, and maybe you could be my master."
I'd like that. Yes, you can be my friend. I don't need to be your master.
Guys, I've been having weird dreams, and I saw the guy with the black hands and also a lady with gold hair and someone wearing Mara's hat.
What? It's all Mara says.
Wait, do you still have the hat?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I love this hat. This is great.
Where did you see the woman?
Was she scary?
In the water?
Oh, God, she drowned. Oh, no.
No,
Where-
no, it was in the dream.
Who had the hat?
A guy?
A big guy?
Yeah, tall folk.
Like a friendly guy, though, right?
He grabs the hat and throws it in the fire.
Whoa! That's...
I'll make him angry and he'll come here. Anything can help.
Mara is devastated as she
What
threw
the
his
hell
lovely
was
hat.
that?
And as you fuel the fire. Sorry, that really tickled. As you throw this hat to fuel the fire. Sorry, Lloyd, you were about to say
So
something.
he'll also say one more thing, and he'll say,
Okay.
I'm going to stand at the fire, and if they get past me, Phlox, you have to run for it. Run down the river and try and get to Bree. We can't all fall here. One of us has to make it to Bree, or else the whole Shire is doomed.
And it's as you
That's
say
a
the
terrible
word
plan.
doomed, that howling is just erupting around you now. And then you see them. You see 10 of them. Some of them are on the far side of the bank behind you. 5 of them at dispersed intervals start prowling out of the darkness. Their eyes are sort of glinting, their black eyes reflecting the fire that stands between you and them. This terrible howling is just a cacophony around you. Their gleaming, hungry gaze is fixed. Their grim jaws of jagged teeth are flowing with saliva. And they're growling with that anticipation that you saw before, Lolo. That moment, that primal moment between life and death. And they leap forward. Mara, in your hand, your trembling hand, you're still holding that tinderbox, and on that tinderbox you might remember that there was a rune, a single rune carved into the top of that tinderbox.
Mm-hmm.
And you notice out the corner of your eye, it's almost like it gleams for a second. The fire that you've put in front of you appears to be glowing brighter and brighter and brighter, and then there is a sudden blinding flash. The whole woods around you is suddenly illuminated as if there was a bolt of lightning from the blue. The howling of aggression becomes howling of fear. And as your vision returns to you, 2 of the walls have fallen. They were smote and lie in ruin on the snow. The fur is smoking with kindled embers. and howling in confusion and fear, the others scarper away. As a low, deep voice speaks. And what, may I ask, is the precise reason for 4 young hobbits to be so far from the borders of the Shire? Before you is a tall, stooping figure, dressed in grey robes, with a long silver scarf and a longer grey beard. His bushy eyebrows stick from beneath the wide brim of a tall, pointed hat. And Gandalf the Grey leans heavily upon his staff as he awaits your answer.
I think Mara is snatching his hat out of the fire, and you see him putting it out in the snow, and puts this scorched hat, somewhat damaged, ruined, back on his head.
We're trying to save the Shire.
He's
We have
not
to
very
find-
young.
No, that's right.
And I think, as you say, we're trying to save the Shire. I think that is where we will leave it tonight.